Sorry to hear that. Vancouver, huh?
Yeah, so bittersweet. My mom will come back to the trip eventually. And
One time I was in Canada, I drove from like Blue to Detroit and went to the flats.
oh, these are, oh my God, you're throughout the.
47 miles. It's the longest trip I've ever been on.
Okay, perfect. You're amazing.
And it was, yeah, but I had to follow the plane. And I had to follow the plane, and she insisted on going north of the facilities into Canada and then drive across the bottom of Canada. And so, you know,
Oh, I'm getting feedback.
I told her, so maybe over $4 a gallon. Over Canada.
Do you hear that?
No problem. We got into Canada.
It is a recording now. I need to fix that.
So, but yeah, I mean, at that point, that was the most expensive move of every time. Like one truck and a car hauler.
Wow.
So, now I wanted to do that Central Denver. You also want. So you go to Seattle, and you get on the ferry. And you take the ferry, it's about 2,000 miles north onto
I think I got it.
on ferry. You have that berths,
Yes.
rooms you can rent, or you can sit in your car, or you can pitch a tent on deck. Serious.
Oh my goodness.
But they go by the linear figure, right? So you
Yes.
take the shortest vehicle you can. I want to do that once. And then and then
Like it's a highway or?
it's they goes from Seattle to this, you know how Alaska's got that tail that comes down? It hits ports like this all the way up.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, Vancouver, there's really a lot of ferries. There's a lot of little islands. It's really fun in the summer. Victoria Island is very beautiful.
Hello. I see some beautiful familiar faces. Okay, so you guys know Mandy is she's passing out a couple things. We're going to talk about some resources. So there are QR codes to the direct resources we're going to talk about. We will, for KW agents, we will be talking about what we call a GPS and 411. So you guys know what that is. For the rest of you, it's just some really awesome planning. Because the next 12 weeks, I'm pretty much going to open the mouth and hydrant water in. Okay, so we're gonna build a plan, have something in place that you guys can start to work off of or add to as we build the course. All right. Does anyone have any questions before we start? We've got about 5 minutes. Does everybody know where the bathroom is? Okay. It is around the corner, and as you go out, there's a code, and you just follow it around. It's outside. It's like a building bathroom.
1320.
1320. Thank you.
And yeah, right here too.
Let me get you up.
I have another photos, but I would like to do, like the 9. Yeah.
On the cheap.
Hello, take a seat. If we fill up, we might need to squeeze in. We had 30 hours. So I'm sure we'll. You did? Yeah. Yeah. No worries. Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I was like, who is this chat? Well, I was like, I gotta shake hands with this one. I love it.
It's so worth it to find.
When I got there, I was like, logged in for the second time.
You were serious about taking the class? That's what's Yeah, I love it. Lead genning and this stuff, it's like my favorite. You ready, Bryce?
Yes.
Like they said, I'm a cop.
Yes.
Go set the rule.
You need to teach me how to say that, like, next time we have AOD, we're just gonna practice it. I like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
I do have a real nice.
I would say like, let's go low and off of that. I'm like, tsunami, you know, like, we're not gonna just make waves.
They were. That's just. You ever saw that?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Hey, anybody wants to buy a wine fridge?
A wine fridge.
I have a 7-foot tall wine fridge, it holds 156 bottles of wine. It's a $1,700 wine fridge, it's probably 3 months old, and I'm selling it for $1,000.
Go on. No.
They have a lot of information.
I just put it on Facebook, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, look, we got extra helpers. Like, this is the best day ever. I love it. Okay, guys, we're about 2 minutes.
The Google is on.
Hmm?
The Google is on.
You're really, I know I debated. Your quick loss of fun, do we not? So if you see me squint, it's because I'm blind.
If I want to see,
You, I saw you come in.
I don't want to read, I think that's right.
So the room's filled up a little bit more, guys, just so you know. You're getting a handout right now. And these 2 pages are resources that we'll be talking about, and they go to the actual resource and pricing for them, if that's something you choose you want to do. And then we will be talking about building a plan and building out a template, because I will essentially be fire hydrant you, just like, you're gonna have to take it all in, so we're gonna have to write it out and make a plan. So there's a digital version of this for you guys if you want to download it. I use the digital version, and then deal. These are the 2 components, so it's just printed out. So if you want to jot notes or play around with it as we're going through the activity, that is everything as well. And if you want to toss it, just recite this for me. I'll ask. Okay, we are 27 seconds, so we're gonna jump into it. I am super excited, guys. Thank you all for coming. This means that each one of us has decided that this year we're gonna take some monumental steps to change our business. Show of hands, how many people experienced a struggle last year in their business? And it could just be a slowdown. Okay, right? I'm an active agent. I did too. It was tough. It was challenging. It was defeating at times. The shifts and the way it happened and the expectation from our buyers and sellers, that was sometimes overwhelming. And then we have the whole thing with NAR, and I'm not going to go into it. Okay, but we do know that there's going to be changes. There's going to be changes to the way that we talk to our buyers. There's going to be changes to the way that we talk to our sellers and the way that we look at some of those components. So what makes sense is, in the 14 years I've been doing this, there's one thing I've always heard, and that is that every listing we have should yield 2 to 3 deals. Okay, which means if we go through, the next shift, whatever the interest rates cause, nobody's got a crystal ball, With the changes to, you know, our contracts and stuff around commissions and things of that nature, taking your listings and owning that piece of it, that's key. Okay, who's listing heavy right now?
At the moment or in general?
At the moment. Okay, okay, I actually like almost want to tear up. I'm like so excited about this. I love that. So there's only a couple hands. How many of you want to be? Okay, so I don't think that a listing is easier than a buyer. I think it's just less footwork. It's a different level of work, right? And when we can amplify and market it and advertise it and brand around it for the duration of the listing, that helps us. Okay, so 12 weeks, 1 day a week, guys. I want to see your faces in here. I know I can see we've got veteran agents, probably have some team owners. We have medium agents, we have new agents, you know, we have admin that go back and forth. Like there's a lot in this room. You might get something, you might get little, you might get a lot, okay? But this is a safe room. We're going to be vulnerable. You're going to learn with me. We're going to talk about things. We're going to address white elephants in the room. And we're going to collaborate with like-minded, intelligent individuals, and we just fill the room with that, okay? Food will be here. We're gonna take a couple breaks, so I'm gonna go into that. By the way, I've been working with AI. I created this picture, and from afar it looked great, but up close, it doesn't look so great. Does anyone see that? Okay. We got some weird eyes. Okay, throughout this course, you're gonna see 3 familiar faces. We will have a ton of experts coming in. Today, you get me. But as we go, you're gonna get experts in the areas that we're going to be talking about. And they will be with KW, without KW, you know, not with K, they're just gonna be all across the board. So Alex, he's our OP. He is just amazing at letting us kind of run with, address issues and jump in and create things. And he's just been fantastic. Megan, she's going to be here today, but she's not feeling well. But she's going to be here. She's a team lead here. And thank you to Glendale for opening your office and allowing us to do this. And then myself, I'm the team lead at Northeast at Nutra. Okay. All right. I'm gonna bypass this one. Rosanna. Okay. I love expectations, right? We ask our clients to do that. We're gonna set a couple expectations. ALMC, because you know us realtors like to make an acronym for everything, but it's the Advanced Listing Mastery course. Participation. We're here to grow and learn and ask questions and pipe in. Chances are your opinion's valid. If you don't ask the questions, we don't know what we don't know. Okay, we don't know if we don't ask. So if you've got a question or you got something that you're doing that is working, that we're not covering or whatever the case is, jump in. It's meant to have fun and collaborate as well. Okay. Note taking, snap pictures and scribble all over your page. Okay. This is meant to be shared. You know, you might have a team, you might have a partner, you know, you might have someone that you're collaborating, a coaching part, you know, a coach or an accountability partner or something like that. So feel free. I know some classes are like, don't take my stuff. It's whatever. Take whatever notes you want. Breaks. I will have a slide for when we do a 10-minute break. Go use the restroom, jump on a phone call if you need to. And we will do 30 for lunch so we can really stretch our legs. And I do have those breaks set in because I feel like all agents have ADHD.
So we're going to 2 p.m.?
Yes. Yep.
The text said 1 day, that's why.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
The text that Julie put out this morning said till 1, and that's 2's fine, but
Okay, yeah, it's been 2.
Alex said 2 o'clock in the.
I think I saw in online stuff it was 2.
It's 2, yeah, because I wanted to make sure we had enough time for you guys to kind of break, you know, and obviously eat. I want to feel your bodies, because the last part of the day we're going to be working. Okay, commitment, consistency and action drives goals. Each class will offer a new set of tools. Okay, so I am asking that you guys show up for the 12 weeks. I hope you get something out of it. But I really hope you get all the things out of it, okay? Any questions before we go on? Okay, awesome. All right, so, show of hands, how many people pay for leads currently? Really, that's it? Whoa. Usually like the crowd's a lot better with that. Okay, who has consistent lead flow somehow? You do your farming pretty heavy. Who else? Okay. All right, so it looks like this class is much needed because we're gonna go through all of that. Okay? All right, in this industry between digital and, farming and some of the old tactics we've always used to social media and some of the new things, ISA is getting out there now, which is an inside sales agent, if you don't know. There are a ton of ways to pull in leads, okay? And one of the common things I heard last year, because all of us had to go back into our business and do what? Anybody know? We had to trim the fat, did we not? We had to pull back on something we were doing. We had to not do something that we wanted to do because the funds weren't there because everybody was, we were just all struggling. Okay, so part of this section today, we're going to talk about things that you can pay for if you've got the money to do so. Okay, and we're going to give pricing, and these are things that I personally have used and constructed ISA departments, companies, or teams, in general. So, or I know people that are currently using them still, they're actively, there's some kind of activity within it. But the thing is everybody feels that we've got to put all this money behind marketing it. I'm gonna be honest, it's not that you should, because you should, but there are a lot of different ways to get free lead sources. Okay. And I don't think that we understand the resources that we have at our disposal. We want to go talk to a client buy or list side and tell them, well, this is why I'm valuable because these are the resources I have. But I don't think we really truly understand who's in our pocket. And so we are going to talk about some of those things and how to get those things. Okay. So, let me try to. Sitting there. Okay, we're just going to deal with that for right now. I'll deal with it during the break. Okay. So to replace real estate agents with robots, clients will have to accurately describe what they want. We're safe. This is a quote from the internet. There was no author. I found it on the internet, so I figured I'd give it credit. Okay. What I'm saying here is during COVID and all the different changes that we've had, the stream of iBuyers, right? The hedge funds coming in and taking things. We're always necessary, okay? We're hired as a agent because we're trusted and we're supposed to be the expert within our field, okay? And clients don't know what they want. So that is part of something we're gonna go into next week too. We're gonna really jump into scripting. We have some round-offs, which is gonna be fun. But we're really gonna talk about why we are their best friend and why we are the best choice for them, okay? So I walk around and bounce a lot, guys. So if I'm creating too much, giving you guys seizures, let me know. Okay. Who's ever had any experience with expired and canceled? I know, Mark. He's been lead genning. You? Okay, another show of hands. Okay. So I got about maybe a third of the room. Okay. Let's talk about what we know. What we know about an expired and canceled is that they have an immediate need. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Mostly, because they chose to do that.
They stood up and said, I want to sell.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. They said, I have a need and I want to put my house on the market. Okay. So the need is there. But then comes the next one, right? Their needs were not met. It could be the market, it could be the agent, it could be the seller. Okay. I don't think they realize how much they inhibit the movement of their own sale. But their need ultimately wasn't met. And that's why it expired or they canceled. Okay, either they let it run out or they decided I'm no longer in the game. Oh. Okay. jumping ahead. All right, I have some memes for just this section. But I thought it was funny because he's a cold turd. And yeah, we need to discuss your listing price, right? I don't think we have good enough conversations with our clients sometimes, but we also know they're tired. They wouldn't have expired or they wouldn't have canceled if they still had the run to keep going. So, this is an armless stat. 2023 produced 21,000 expired and canceled listings that never sold. Think about that. We're all sitting in a room talking about, I don't have listings. And we just had 21 go out the door. 21,000. Okay,
That's just in the state of Arizona.
that's just an armless, yeah. Yeah, so,
Did they break that down any further?
I mean, I can.
Reasonings or anything?
No. Huh? Hey, definitely a round of applause for you, Carol.
I got a question. Do you think that canceled or expired are any different, or you treat them both the same?
I treat them the same because the same thing, I mean, obviously one made a decision, right? Or they they had to mutually agree to cancel, or they let it go, okay? These still apply. They're tired, the need wasn't met, and they still have an immediate need. Does that make sense, Mark?
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. So when I look at expireds and cancels, they don't get worked. And does anyone know why?
It's a grind.
Fear of rejection. It is a grind, yeah.
Exactly, grind and fear of rejection, those are awesome points.
Well, there's a real quick window. If they cancel, sometimes they're back in a couple of days. So you have to be on it like the next day.
Yes, and we're gonna talk about that
There's a
too.
window.
Yeah, so exactly, and so everybody is like, ooh, this is such a beautiful number, right? Like if I took my market share of that, if we just divided that number amongst this, room right now, we'd all be sitting pretty and taking, trips to Mexico and sending the kids off to college, right?
Teams.
Yeah, we would. But the reality is, it's because they're tired, their needs weren't met, but they still have an immediate need. They're hostile sometimes, and we don't know how to talk to them. We want to go in and we want to pitch, and we don't want to look at the objections, like where they're really sitting, why, and dig into that so that we can build a plan to make it work for them. Okay. So it's also consistency, and like I'm going to veer off in a couple places during this, by the way, so bear with me. Squirrel. So in the ISA world, we have 2 dates. It is the 1st and the 15th of the month. We call them Christmas is the 1st, and the 15th is Christmas Eve, because we get to open one present. Christmas, we get to open it all, because historically, most of the listings expire or choose to cancel right at the end of the month or in the middle. Okay, so those are always the best times to call them. Also, there's a golden hours, which is between 8 a.m. and 11. Okay, or you go into the evening and it's like 3 to 6 to 7. Why? Because most people are working. Okay, after lunch, how many of us eat and don't want to do anything else? There's a lot of us. So like there's just that mentality. So 8 to 11 is always your best time to call some of these lead sources. Okay, so I will throw tidbits of information like that. So you gotta be paying attention. Okay. All right, any questions about this lead source and what we know about it?
Are you going more into the follow-up of this, or are you changing gears
Mm-mm.
right now?
Today, we're going to talk about the lead sources and how do we get them. And then we're going to work on GPS and stuff, but we're going to actually jump into this and how the follow up with this and,
Right,
our
so
CRM
the
and
nuts and bolts of do not disturb, or, no call lists and all of that.
that's like a paragraph. Okay. Like when you tell me do not call, I'm going to tell you right now, that's do not call. They're on the do not call list. What other form of communication do we have with our phone? Okay.
I was told you can't text those because that's the same thing.
Nope, but it's not.
Until they say
Do
stop.
they extract,
What's that?
lead sources extract, but do not call on their list?
I'm gonna go into that. Because we're gonna go into the lead sources or the lead sources that actually pull those, which is part of your resource stuff. I'm gonna go into that 100%. So to answer your question is yes, we're gonna address it all. That's why you guys really like pay attention and take notes because I'm really just, you might choke on all the information, okay? So if I gotta slow down, have me slow down, I can go pretty fast too. Does that answer your questions, bro? Okay, perfect. So we're gonna go on to next to this one, the most hated, yet sought after. And that would be our lovely FSBOs. Okay, anyone have experience? I know I have one hand too. Okay. Cool. Has anyone wanted to?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. So what do we know? FSBO, if no one knows, just so we're clear, is for sale by owner. They have made the decision to sell their property themselves, okay? They do not want representation about 75 to 80% of the time. They will offer buyer's commission, okay? But they have no interest in paying the seller's commission, okay? So again, going back to what do we know? They have an immediate need. They need to sell their house. They have chosen to take that whole responsibility on, knowing not what they're doing. Okay, and then yeah, they think, they do, and some do. Now, there's a small percentage, understand, I'm going to be talking about the general, like, of a lead source. Understand that there's experienced FSBOs out there. There are also agents that are choosing to sell it themselves that way. That happens a lot too. It's a very small percentage, but you will come across them. Okay, so I love this one just because must sell, lost job, can't pay, mortgage, wife, left, took dog, house, agent except for asbestos, offer, right? They don't know what they're doing.
Absolutely not.
Okay, if they think a sign in the yard and throwing it up on Zillow
I'm desperate.
is sufficient. And I'm going to tell you a fun story about Zillow later today about FSBOs that it's exceptional. It's gonna blow your mind, and I swear, if some of you don't convert from it, I should never teach again. Okay, so again, generally, most of the time, it is a bottom money number. That's the pain. They do not want to pay. They do not want to this. They don't. Okay. They feel they know the value of their home. They want the most out of it. Okay. They're also unrepresented. FSBOs next to property management tend to be some of the highest like internal lawsuits because you have someone who is not versed in the market, in the paperwork, pre-qualifying, any of those things that we are taught to do.
Point of information, they said FSBOs are like maybe 10% of all transactions, but they're like 70% of the litigation.
Yes, because they're unrepresented.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
yeah, Mark.
So if FSBO comes up on your list and it says DNC next to it, they've got a sign in their front yard. We can call that, correct?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All twice.
yeah. We're gonna talk about that later on in the course, by the way.
Transaction, yeah.
The call twice thing, yes.
And I'm sorry, you guys may already touched on it. I didn't hear, but like someone on do not call list, can you still text them or you can't?
Yeah.
Yes,
You can't, okay.
I was told.
How about that earlier? I didn't catch it, so.
Now, again, we always want to be respectful with any form of communication. So I say that, and yes, you can, that's not what the do not call list registry is for. It is for strictly calls. It gets misconstrued. I do not want to hear that you're talking to someone and you're like, well, you know, and they're like, don't text me. And you're like, well, it's not on and you're combative. Like, let it go. There's plenty of leads. We live in a really big metropolis.
You don't want
Okay.
to work with that person anyway.
Yeah, well, that, I mean, and we don't know what's going on in the world too.
On that,
Yeah,
and I just said to Mark when he was talking about texting, I've always assumed when they then reply stop,
like I do a lot of Twilio stuff.
That is,
That's a do not.
That is
call.
a
That's
do not
that's a dead
contact
stop, right?
yep,
Okay.
If, and I'll tell you, because I've always kept, my lead sources in my database, like some people are like only people they transacted with, right? Or only people they know. I'm a component, I love to have my people in a CRM that I can drip on them despite what type of lead they are, okay? So if someone comes at me and says, do not contact me, I'm pulling them from my thing, okay? I don't even keep them in, it's not even worth it. So,
Even for letters and stuff,
huh?
even for letters. Other marketing.
At that
I
point.
take them as DNC.
Yeah, okay. If you've got like a process around it and that works for you, do it, dude. You do you, boo. Like, that makes sense. But as a like whole, why keep someone in there that could just be contentious and you have to worry about trying to filter through and do this and not, you know what I mean? Keep your database clean.
That's
Okay,
why I asked, because I
Yeah.
had so much debate in my internal decision making on that.
yeah.
Do I just pull them or should I leave them in there with notes and DNC things that flag me in?
So I'm gonna go back into what I just said, and we live in a huge metropolis.
Right.
You're trying to scrape the bottom of the barrel, and you've got a whole yard of barrels full over here, okay? Work smarter, not harder. Let's get these, let's get people that are worth having a conversation with.
I'm tired of digging for leads. Let's get some people who want to work.
Okay, so, this is an R statistic, FISBOs, I wish they would update it, because it's still 2021. But FISBOs accounted for 10% of home sales in 2021, selling for 225,000 compared to 330,000 for agent-assisted home sales. Who wants to do the math? What is it? No, I want a number. I mean, I know it, but what's
It seems
not?
like 30, yeah, almost 30%.
It is almost 30, but what's the actual number?
Oh, 95,000.
105,000.
105. I was like, wait a minute, that means my math's off. Okay, so 105,000, over 100 grand. They get on average, okay, more than if they do that. So let's think about this. I want to raise hands. I want like 2 or 3 of you. What would you do with 100 grand if you had it? Seriously,
Well,
like, what would you do?
Okay, but it would be 100 grand, it might be about 80, because now they're gonna pay the 6%.
Okay, so, yeah, but what would you do with 80 grand then? I mean, that's a, what would you do?
Buy a nicer house, vacation car.
There you go. I want 2 more.
Put it back in the business.
There you go.
I think the thing about FISBO, the FISBO people don't understand, if you have a conversation with them, is that because they don't have an agent, everybody's, the first thing to say, well, you don't have an agent, so I'm immediately dropping my price 3 to 5% just right off the top. And they'll essentially net the same because we could ask more
Mhm.
for and then just obviously every one of the photos are blurry, crooked,
Yeah.
wrong, there's.
So,
Out of
The list
perspective.
so we're gonna jump into this, but I'm just gonna like spit out something. Okay, so what if you showed up to a FISBO with a couple things? First off, their Zillow listing printed out so that they can actually see it. Okay, what if you showed up because you know they're selling, which means they're gonna have to buy your buyer presentation to represent them as a buyer? What if you actually listened to the FISBO and addressed all the other needs to build the rapport? Because it takes on average, they usually typically will list between 3 to 5, week 3 to 5. Okay, 3 to 5, that's when they're gonna list. That's when they start to get tired. Having their house open, okay, no guidance, nobody coming in, non-pre-qualified buyers, people just wasting their time. Like, the list can go
Right,
on.
and I'm
Yeah.
sure they're all listing their price on actives, not solds.
Yeah, well, they're not, yeah, they're
They're not gonna have
exactly.
the online exposure.
Yeah.
because of that.
So what if you looked at a FISBO when they're looking at you going, well, I don't want to pay, the commission or whatever.
Go back to their net.
And you go back to, so what if commission didn't matter if I got you your price? Right, it's a conversation we're having with them. So in the scripting that we will be working on next week, we're going to be talking about some of these bullet points and objection handling through these. Okay, so do know they're It's layered, okay? But they're unrepresented, that's also another thing, you know?
Well,
What are you gonna do? Like, do you have a process for getting your buyers pre-qualified? You know what I mean? Like going into, well, do you know what it's like, you know, have you looked at a purchase contract? Do you have one written? You know what I mean? Like you start to jump into that, yes.
Well, I mean, I would be tempted to do, this is, my commission's contingent on what you net, because just having a listing should get me more business, right? So
I
I'm
know
the
that
ones I
too.
kept saying, I won't charge you unless you actually get your net, you know, plus my.
That's, yeah, no, I mean, that's amazing. Sure, that's a great idea.
Well, the
because-
chances of me getting them plus me making something,
Yeah,
I might, you know, I might even do a net. Everything over what your net is, I get, I might be.
And we
5%
can't.
on top of that.
why? Because commissions are always negotiable, right? So, and our code of ethics says that we can't let commissions, you know, hinder the sale of a home,
Yeah.
right?
how
So
often does that stop people?
it doesn't, and that's a whole nother subject, and no one wants that side of Rachel ranting on that. But, to your point, absolutely. So if it made sense for them and it made sense for you, and you could do that, there's a ton of ways. But if we look at what the pain points are and what they're asking for, we can build whatever plan that works for them and us. Okay? We're literally hired to be the best problem solvers ever. Okay, so we always need to be solving problems. Okay? All right, any other comments, question? I like that. This one's got a little
Yeah.
blood moving. Yeah. Any other concerns, questions, or anything around FISBOs? Yes.
Now, my experience with business though is even though they sell for less, they think that their house is worth more. So always the price
Always.
objection is a little.
So that's where, and we go back to, you know, I set expectations in the beginning of this class, right? We need to set the expectation for our sellers, and there's really, and we're going to talk about the 3 outcomes of a listing. Okay, it gets no showings, you know, it gets little to no showings or it sells, right? Like, and why? Why is that? So it's really having that expectation conversation with them. The market tells us if we're right or wrong. Right? How many times, Sabrina, we've talked about that a lot through our years. Like you go in, you talk to seller and they want this and they think it's this. Well, that's amazing. But the market tells us if we're right or wrong. And if we're wrong, this is what we have to do. Again, that expectation, they're looking to us to be the expert. So if we don't lay it out and what that possible scenario might look like, then we're just going to get more resistance and pushback. Okay, does that answer that? Okay, perfect. All right, I don't even know which one's next. Oh, Sherry, you'll like this, and Spirit. Okay, so I asked at the beginning of the class if anyone had a continual lead source. Okay, and I only had a couple of you raise your hands. This is an opportunity that could almost be free for you, almost in every way, and is so layered with the ability to lead gen from it. It is disgusting. Okay, if you're not farming, that needs to be part of your goal. If you have a team, farm a specific neighborhood for you. You know what I mean? Just pick one, like to start off with. But I'm going to tell you, this is a missed opportunity. Okay, so for our veteran farmers, I do expect some participation here. Okay, what do we know? We don't know what they need. We don't. Okay, it's a list, it's a neighborhood, a subdivision. It could, bless you, it could be a
They
zip code.
eventually want to sell, it's the planting of the seed.
Yes, but we could have renters, there's a ton of things. Yeah. So, but we don't know what they need when, and that is part of farming is finding and being consistent. It's also a multi-layered marketing mission. Okay. And there's 1,000 ways to do it, but it's probably the one lead source that you can hit almost every piece of our outreach to market and solicit in one lead source. Okay. This takes time and consistency. So just like expireds, I hear so many people go, oh, I was farming while I didn't get anything. Okay, well, how are you farming is the first question, and why did you stop? Okay, we shouldn't, I mean, database is a whole nother subject, so, and I will ask you a very honest question, I want honest feedback. But, your database, right, we're not, it's not designed to just throw them in there and forget about them. Okay, or maybe touch them once in a while because we remembered, right? It should be a systematized drip. Same thing for your farming, okay? You're establishing that you're the neighborhood expert. The goal is to take market share, okay? But it does take time and consistency. But once it comes in, your own share, it ends up becoming a beautiful, you know, reoccurring referral-based network lead source, okay? So, okay, this one I love because I don't think that people really look at, they're like, oh, I'm gonna go farm this area. And you're like, well, I know an agent. You probably should go in there.
A lot of agents have come and gone over the 10 years.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure. So in fact, I just got a call yesterday. Can I? And I was like, I recommend not. Sorry, he owns his market share. So, a true farmable neighborhood must have a 5% turnover rate. Okay, which means for every 100 houses, 5 have to sell within a 12-month period. That tells us that that neighborhood is moving and that you'll be able to duplicate the business from it. If it's anything less, then you know what I mean? You just got a little, you know, like Keeping Up with the Robinsons, remember that, like one neighbor saw the kind of, you know, it trickles depending on how the relationships go. And with no dominant agent, okay? And the reason why I say that is because, and I've had these conversations with people and it cracks me up because I had an agent on the team and she really wanted to hit this area in central Phoenix. Beautiful, beautiful area, okay? But there's a very established agent, so established that the bus signs have his face on it. And she wanted to take him out. And we had to build another farming plan because how much time would that take to try to outdo that one?
5 years.
More than
Find another one that's not already tapped.
How much money do you think it would take to outdo that? At that point, you're like sitting in a, you know, like when doctors, you know, like a medical malpractice lawsuit, right? And one side says, well, I'm gonna bring this expert in, and the other side says, well, I'm gonna pay more and bring this one in, it's just kept.
Well, on top of that,
Yeah.
that person's got market share, that means they've got a lot of business going, they've got more money than you do to deal with it anyway.
Exactly,
And guess
so,
what? When somebody keeps their head up and wants to farm in my neighborhood, what do you think I do?
I know what you
I
do,
come over the top.
yeah,
Double down, yeah, I mean, even heavier.
because here's the deal, and to Spiro's case, the world is plentiful, so I know I've said that, so we're talking about like these little itty bitty market, you know, capitalizations, right? That person has spent a lot of time and money and has been consistent. And no one wants to, what is a hen story, right? The hen makes a bread or whatever and everybody wants it, but they didn't participate and help in it. Same thing applies, okay? So it's more of a respect thing. Okay, if we have a dominant agent in a farming area, they've put the time and effort in. That's not fair for you to come pick their low hanging fruit off that necessarily and try to take them out.
Bottom feeder.
No, I mean, so, I'm just gonna be honest. You know, our code of ethics say that we're to do what with our fellow agents.
Line of respect.
Yeah. Okay, and I don't feel that that's treating them as such. There are plenty of other beautiful neighborhoods that don't have a dominant agent that are close enough for you to be able to do.
Just to touch on this a little bit, can I just like give you guys a quick overview of like what happened with me since I started?
Yeah.
Dog walking my dog, number one. And I got the first folks. The first couple listings I got were in 11, 12, 13, when the market was coming back. I was selling stuff for more than other houses. So of course I had to look at me, I just sold a house for $40,000 more. Kept the marketing going. So now it's been 10 years. probably 50%, maybe more of my total business is within a mile of, in this neighborhood that I live in. So it's about a 1,300 home community, about 110 sell a year. Of those 110, I sell at least 10 to 15, sometimes 20. So some of them up to 20% market share.
Yeah.
All in all, I've sold about 185 homes in just this 1 mile radius. The number 2 agent has sold 12.
Okay,
So you want to talk about Dom, right? Dom,
Yeah.
not what I want to get to. So I'm just kind of that, just how powerful like this can be, like over time. This is over time.
again, long
It
term
did take,
game.
by the second year, I did get by 6, and then I got 8, and then I had 12, and then I got 14, right? All in 1 year.
Mhm.
What's interesting is when I sit down with most sellers, they don't say, oh, we're calling you because you sold my buddy's house down the street and you sold it for $80,000 more than the other one, you know, the other way. You always support the neighborhood, you sponsor a lot of activities, you give back.
We're gonna go into that.
We like that about you.
Yep,
It's more about like being connected and giving back and supporting and being a part, an integral part of the neighborhood.
I
That's the biggest
love
thing.
that you said that, because we're gonna touch on that.
That's the biggest thing I hear more than anything.
Yeah, farming is, it's intimate. It's probably the most intimate of our lead sources next to our SOI. Okay? Because it is a very much a community thing. You're to be the neighborhood expert, you know, and go to. So, but Vera, I want to ask you a question. How much money do you think in 10 years, and you track your stuff? Just give me a ballpark. How much do you think you've spent in marketing?
Less than 50 grand.
Even with your,
Because I haven't done it every, okay, even if it's 100. Even if it's 100,
so are you primarily like the events?
oh, you mean on the events?
No, I'm
Or
talking
on-
about all, like, what, what do you
okay, so the
pay?
events, maybe 4,000 a year in sponsored activities,
Okay,
probably another 2, 4, 6, 8, another, so about 12,000 a year.
that makes sense.
Okay,
Okay,
with my marketing and then.
yeah, because I was like,
about
there's no way.
12,000.
Yeah,
So.
like you do all the
let's
events
call it
too.
150.
Yeah.
If I sold 175 houses times its average of 600. I made 100 and, one, no, that can't be right. Hang on. Wait, that was 105 million. Oh, wait. Oh.
I was like, you might need to change your zip code, boy.
Oh, wait, where's that? This is gross sales.
Rounding here.
Times 0.0275. Almost 3 million.
Okay, so again, where we go back to the respect, 12,000 a year. You know, now I'm sure that didn't start off that way.
50 a year just from the name.
Yeah, so like that's a big expense, and obviously the ROI is there for him, and that makes sense because he was consistent and he's put the time in. Okay, World Plentiful, go find another subdivision. Okay, any questions?
So such a thing as a demographic form that was over there. And so I've heard something called the demographic form.
Are you talking about like geo-targeting or something?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're not
I
gonna
don't know
go
what I'm
into
talking about.
geo-targeting itself, but we will talk about targeted social ads. Okay, because geo-targeting is like its own little beast.
Talk to Alex about that.
It's-
Yeah, Alice is pretty
Got a
restricted.
couple
Are
of
you
those.
asking
It
questions?
just was so complex, I didn't pull it in. I thought about it, but, so we're just gonna go to, the backup. Does that make sense? Okay,
But
Yeah.
I think are you speaking of picking your farm? Because there is specific, what we know, you can find out a lot about where you're picking.
yeah,
How long you live there, how many renters, you can find all
Yeah.
of that.
all of that. Well, and if he's speaking of that, I mean, there's 100 million ways to pull that demographic, but I think he's talking about geo-targeting, which is when you're socially targeting specifically demographics and things like it's like this, it's a thing. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a reminder to my friends, I'm in real estate, so come see me first. Raise your hands and I can actually do this twice, so I'll just give you both my hands. How many of you have had a close friend or family list or buy with someone else? Okay. Show off. I see how
I
it
don't have any friends, I'm sorry.
Friends, stop. I told you we're doing monthly dinners at your house, so I can use your stuff. Okay, so, and I'll be honest. Whew, there's probably nothing that hurts worse than that one. Okay? Because you probably love and respect that person for a reason, and you hope that it's there, and there's a lot of people that don't want to mix business and pleasure together, and they really just feel that way. Okay, and sometimes most of the time, you just weren't relevant enough. Okay, because we let them sit in our CRM, in our socials, in our phone, and we forget to do a couple things with them. So, this is, an amazing resource. And I bet you $100 the majority of you don't have what we would consider your SOI truly in a database in which you can solicit, market, and be relevant for them. Okay, so in general, what do we know about them? We know that they, in general, trust us. They are a family or they're a friend, they're choosing to be in our life. You know, I think we've become cognitive enough in our, these last like couple decades that sometimes we're just not friends with our family too. So even our families in our life, you know what I mean? Like the people that we have chosen both ways, right? Oh, wait, where'd it go? Okay. All right. They know what to expect. Why? They know us. Yeah.
We've been talking about
Are
it.
they ready to transact? These are actual past clients, right? So,
Well, it could be. That's what I'm saying. Past or present clients. Past, they know what it's like to work with you. Present, they're working with you. SOI, oh, that moved over. That's an error. So SOI. Sorry. Yeah, all of them. They know how we're gonna respond. They know what fuels us to some degree. It could be small, but they know something, you know? So they know what to expect. They're free. We already have them. Okay? We already have them. And we're gonna talk about how we're gonna utilize them a little bit more. But past clients and our present clients, our SOI is the most unused lead source. It is. You had an activity, my dear Aiden, to go through your stuff. How did your friends and family respond to that?
Some of them said they find some recommendations, but the others kind of stuff behind that.
Yeah, and that's fine, right? But you had some feedback from it. Like, it doesn't take much. You know, we want to complicate this one, and we should be hitting these guys. Does anyone know how many times a year we should be hitting our SOI past clients and present? Well,
Four times.
Four, that's the average, yep, 4 times, okay? So 4 times. Does that have to be this crazy drip campaign that's taking them 500 million places? No. I'll tell you that a handwritten card or a happy birthday message or a hey text, hey thinking about you, like how's the fam, how's this, that's gonna go way further. You know, and you start that conversation back up, and what you then do, you're talking to your SOI or past clients.
Asking who do they know that's moving?
Yes. We forget to ask this business. We do. And I bet you that there's probably referrals sitting in these little categories right here in business waiting for you, low hanging fruit with people that you have already established a relationship with. Okay, so we're not going to dismiss this one throughout this class either. Okay. All right, questions, thoughts on that? Okay. My favorite. Okay. Our database, and I'm going to jump down to this first. Okay. A database is one true asset in your business. It does not matter what industry, what job, what corporation, it doesn't matter what your database is your business. Okay. Your clientele is your business. Okay. And so I'm going to ask you a very, very, very honest question before we go into the other ones. How many of you feel that you truly have your database organized and they're being hit appropriately to the type of lead that they are or time frame they sit in? Okay. CRMs change. We change a brokerage, then we change a CRM. You know what I mean? We try something, we get out, we want the next best thing. But there's a lot of fundamental basics that aren't very complicated, but this, why would you go get new leads to just let them sit and do nothing? Okay? This is where we get to provide value and still ask for business as well. Okay? So what we know, we did something to bring them into the database. We could have paid money, we could have did a physical activity, you know, had a conversation. We actually put time into putting them in there and retrieving them. Okay? I don't know about you. I mean, I'm not the cheapest of people. I am. I'm pretty cheap. I can't imagine paying for something and letting it sit like that. And then turning around, I'm just gonna be honest with you, you guys don't get a piece of the, and then turning around and complaining that I don't have business. To me, it makes no sense. Okay, I can sometimes be dirty, so I'll go back. Okay, so you did something to bring them in, okay? And I'd like to think you guys are a bunch of smart individuals that don't like to waste money. Or I tell our clients not to. Why would we? And you paid for them already somehow. Okay, it could have been time, it could have been money, you know, it could have been whatever, but you paid for them. So they need to be used. And they know your branding or you somehow, because you had some kind of conversation or they've seen something and they know who you are to some degree. Okay, so this is a great lead source. And again, we're not utilizing, so we're not going to dismiss it. Okay, are we going to get buyers out of there too? You know, and renters to refer out or work, whatever you choose. Yeah. But the fact is this is a major lead source that we're just not utilizing. Questions? Thoughts?
How often are you weeding through that? You just mentioned before that you get rid of the DNCs. Do you get rid of them completely? Do you, I mean, I have a fairly good sized database,
Yeah.
but
How many?
how many are actually?
Yeah, no,
active
tell me
out there?
who's in your database? How many in your database right now?
587.
Okay, that's a good number. Okay, which means you have a lot of leads that you haven't met yet.
I've touched all of them, but that they're not all very good. And that's where my question lies. As I go through, try and sort through this, because I try to be as organized as possible, with tags and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So that when it comes to mass marketing these folks, I'm doing it the correct way.
Right.
There are many times I go, I should just get rid of this. But at the same time, I'm like, just leave them in there and who knows, something like that.
So do you?
So I don't want a
Yeah.
whole bunch of those, so I will see what happens.
Depending on the CRM, because every CRM is different, okay? I will stage lead DNC and I will tag it. And once a month, I'll go through and clean it out. Okay, because chances are, you know, I've got some other process in play to catch something else, but it's usually once a month that I'll go through. Now, I do not want you guys to confuse, do not contact me with I'm not interested. Okay, I'm not interested. It's not a no. I'm just not interested now.
So
Yeah.
DNC means, yeah. But I'm not interested, that's just coming back later.
That's a quarterly touch at least, depending on the lead source. Okay, if Facebook says I'm not interested, I'm not putting them on a quarterly touch or an expired or canceled, okay, or something like that, but depending on the lead source. Yeah, they would go into a nurture pipeline of some sort.
That's the exact.
And I'm gonna wait for them to
Because they're
engage
not putting
somehow.
into their neighborhood nurture or whatever, as far as KW goes.
Yeah.
Because I know I can get, especially at the end of the year, right?
Mhm.
We get 10 texts a day. Finally, you're just going, stop, just stop it. I don't care who you are, stop.
Mhm.
Well, that person takes it as, don't ever, Michael King doesn't ever want you talk to him again. But I'm done with you right now. But, so that's why I think I should leave them in there and then do that soft touch or
Your
whatever,
prerogative,
right?
okay, your database, you own it, you get to do whatever you want.
What have you found
Okay.
most effective?
Taking them out.
Okay.
I'd rather go into, you know, pulling a title list to circle prospect, a listing or a buy than let a DM, do not stop, sit in my database. If you want me to be really honest with you.
No, that's what
I'm a huge component of keeping your database super organized and cleaned out. Okay, we want relevant people that are worth having a conversation with. okay? Like anything good, it has to be maintenance tuned and, set to go, okay? And we constantly have to be tweaking and making alterations, right? Okay. Any other questions? That was a good one. I will be honest with you in my own opinions. If you don't like it, opinions are like apples. No problem. Okay. I have no ego, right? Yes, my love.
So, in your experience, what are your four signs or four touches that you can get?
Yeah.
That's a lot to hear, right? I have
Yeah.
four, but these are my numbers.
Yeah, again, if it's SOI, I'm probably gonna make that a very personal touch. Handwritten card, like a personal message on something that's more private, text, Facebook, maybe something like that. If you're talking about a nurture, if it's a buy, you're asking them questions and social media, wide open, okay, yeah. We're gonna talk about that. And that relates because that can be part of it, is that can be attached to if we're pulling that lead source in. So SOI and stuff be more personal. If it's a buyer, I'm going to ask, if they want to buy a house, I'm gonna push them to a search site. And again, back to the social media, we're gonna push everybody to one thing. And if it can track, that's gonna be our hub for every piece of marketing that we do, print, digital, etc. Okay? Sellers, same thing. Do you want a home evaluation? Hey, I ran comps. I'm gonna send those off to you. HomeBot's a great, anybody use HomeBot? Okay.
Yeah.
Dudes, my husband will be like, dude, I'm not a dude. But, $25, I think it is, and we're not gonna cover that today, but for nurturing your sellers, it's like $25 for like a month for, I think 1,000 or 999 seats, okay?
1,000 or 991.
Like 999 leads that you can upload, and it's like $25 a month. And it is probably the funnest, interactive seller valuation, whatever, platform that you can use. A lot of times the lenders will also piggyback with you and help hold the cost, or they have one that you can piggyback off of. But it shows you like, okay, here's my home value, right? I think I need to tweak it because I think it's wrong. I put flooring in, I updated this, and it will let the seller adjust their home price. It will give you mortgage breakdowns, like you're sitting at a 30-year loan, you've had it for 5 years. You pay this much in interest and this much in principal. Yeah, if you pay just $100 a month, if I paid 1 month, extra a year, it would save me this much on interest.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you, excuse me.
I want to, great participation, please. I want to Airbnb it or long-term rental it. What does that look like? I have this much equity sitting in my home. Should I turn it into another home? And sell this one, buy a second home, turn it into a rental? It is a really cool tool for yourself.
Yeah,
And it tracks with
it
it.
has a notification, like, so if somebody's going in and out of their house in a certain neighborhood, you're gonna see that, it's gonna notify you if they're.
No, it's only their house, but it will notify you if they're asking any questions or engaging with it. So you can get a text message, I believe, but you'll get an email that says, your lead, Jon Snow, like, engage with.
Yeah, so if you
Yeah.
see a bunch of notifications
Yeah, you'll get notified.
pile up.
And it's good because you'll get like a notification, hey, they want to talk to a lender about a refi. Well, now I got value to call them. That doesn't feel as cold, as it usually does. Okay, sorry, we went on a whole tangent. A whole bunch of great. Yes. Talk to your lenders about it. You might be able to get them for free. Okay, any more questions about database being a vital lead source that we need to look at?
No, my comment real quick on,
Yeah.
on the CRM is that, due for contacts with them, which is, they're like New Year's, birthday, springtime, because that's when, they start selling.
Yeah.
And the house anniversary or the DWM, that I call it, like
Yeah.
when we met.
Oh, I
When
like
we
that.
met.
Yeah.
And, a year later, I sent them,
So my question is, do you have a call to action in that?
yeah.
Do we know what a call to action is? Okay, for any of you that don't, I'm going to type in and then I want to finish. Doesn't matter if we're having a conversation, email dripping, sending out mailers, social media, it doesn't matter. We should always have a call to action. It is a subliminal like message that they need to do something, call me, learn more, sign up here, look at this. You know what I mean? You know, asking for a home valuation. Yes, it is asking them to respond in some way. So it doesn't matter what we do as agents, we should always have a call to action to every single thing that we are dropping out toward that, our for marketing or solicitation. Okay, so, but who is this for touch a year on?
For the clients that, for our customers that are, that they bought a house.
Yeah.
Or they are planning to buy a house,
Okay,
potential customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so those are a lot of really like, I would say intimate touches, right? Nowhere, are you asking for business?
Yes,
You are?
yeah, how to actually, like, call me.
No, but are you asking them, do they know someone that you should know that needs help?
No,
Uh-huh.
yeah, okay, that's.
I would like you to have that.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. All right, yeah. Need marketing, make money, need money for marketing. Okay. I said earlier in the beginning of this class, I don't believe that we need to be spending gobs and gobs of money, which is part of the reason why this course was put on, because there's a lot of free ways to do things. But we do have to spend capital. We do. We have to spend money at some point. Okay. For various reasons, I just don't think we need to be wasting it. Okay, so paid ads, it could be pay-per-click, Google pay-per-click, Facebook, Instagram has launched theirs. So those are kind of, I'm just gonna stick with the main platforms. I understand there's a lot of other types. But what do we know? They cost money. It's gonna cost something. Okay. People don't realize this, they're like a pay-per-lead and it came in on Facebook. How many of you scroll through looking at crap on Facebook? Just looking for the sake of looking. Okay, that's all of you. So I didn't get a hand, but I know it's all of you. Yeah. By the way, in our social class, I'm gonna ask you to be crazy vulnerable. Just prepping you now. Most paid ad leads are inquiries. We're not having the right conversation with them. Okay, so they're not convertible. Probably not put them on the right campaigns to nurture them. I do feel that they're not being talked to the right way.
So in other words, inquiries, you mean they're just trying to see what's out there and they're not interested in purchasing it more.
So let's put this into perspective. I'm going to use our market center as an example. We have a lot of foot traffic. And we've had quite a bit of buyers come in that we've actually turned some things around to convert them and get contact information, do some of that stuff. So if someone comes in to the office, Mark, and says, I want to buy a house. I think I might be looking at buying a house. Could you help me?
Sure.
That's a lead. We don't know if we can convert them right now, but that's a lead. You know how we have all our listings put on the outside of our window. If I have someone walking by and looking and going, oh, you have a lot of listings. I'm looking at them. That's not a lead. It's an inquiry. Okay. They need to become a lead. So we need to be having better qualifying questions or a plan to drip on them in a way that's going to cause that engagement. Okay.
Turn that lead in their contact.
Yeah, I mean, Facebook ad leads and things like that should always go in your database. They just, what's the message that you're sending them? How are you conversing with them is the big question, okay? Because if not, people are like, why just waste your money on Facebook leads? Yeah, they're inquiries. You've got to dig in and find exactly, they don't know what they want. They're perusing most of the time, okay? Now, we're going to talk about how much home buying does start online. So the inquiry will eventually become the lead. Okay, because it starts there, because we live in a digital world, people. So if you're not on the way, get on it. Because we have no choice. It's just gonna tsunami us. Okay.
Paid ad is also a marketing strategy also. Get your
It
name
is.
out there.
Yeah,
So,
it's branding.
right.
You have to remember that marketing is subliminal messaging, right? That's why when we market, we talk, I am huge in marketing and branding specifically. And it has to be cohesive It has to be consistent, okay? Because it's all subliminal. Like, we take so much information in, right, and it imprints. But we like to see patterns. We want to be their pattern. Oh, I like that. I just came up with that. I'm gonna make a thing around that. Okay, you appeal to the digital population. Okay? I know we'll talk about this in social media, TikTok. Okay? All those young kids out there just making these 7-10 second reels, doing nothing and wasting time. That's our next set of buyers, people. Okay, I mean, it's like something 80, I have the statistic up here somewhere. It's like 80 point something% of the world uses social media to some degree. Think about that. 80% of the world uses some form of.
That's more than you get on listen to this.
And so if we know that, why would we not be applying that to our business? We're gonna talk about that. We're just gonna we're gonna kick the white elephant out of the room. Okay, with that one later. I love social. It's one of my favorite things. Did I hear?
Well, I was just gonna say, that's, in my frame of mind, it's somewhat like farming. So there's separate farms, right? So the social media would be a farm, so you can't just buy a paid ad and think you're gonna get something out of it.
No, it has to be intentional.
Right, because how many times, as you talk about everyone scrolling through, how many times do you actually scroll past it before you actually click on it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm interested in this widget. Pass, 6 times. And then you click.
And we are gonna talk about that specifically, right? I like to call it, timing's the thing, but I like to call it interactive marketing, okay? We have to be putting things out that are gonna appeal, okay? And just as a tidbit now, anything that you visually put out on social, the visual itself needs to capture and say, in general, what you're saying in 5 seconds. 3 to 5 seconds. And it might even be lower because now we're watching 7-second reels. It used to be 30. So clearly our attention span has gone down. So think about that. We don't want wording all over our content. It's supposed to be, and that goes for email campaigns if you're putting a content piece in, a mailer, if that's what you're doing, you know what I mean? Some things like that. Print's a little bit different, but still the same thing. They have to be able to get the gist within the first 5 seconds. Okay. Okay, so here's my statistic. And this was NAR too. 95% of people interested in buying a home research the process online first. 51% of home buyers find their home online. Okay, so doesn't mean they bought it offline, they found it offline. Okay, and again, how close is 95% to 100? I mean, they might be rubbing cheeks over here, they're so close. Okay, and then half of them are finding their actual home that they want to look and purchase.
Probably 50% of the buyers found it. I mean, total, 95% are online and 51% of those, that's.
So this is huge. I love stats because it gives us perspective. We're missing a huge opportunity. Now with paid ads, I want to throw in here that this also doesn't apply to just posting and stuff like that. That's more of a consistent game. We'll talk about that. But paid ads, if you don't think you're being tracked, don't have a phone, don't go into a building, don't do anything. Everything we do tracks us. There is tracking little bugs, if you want to call them, and there's algorithms to all the things that are being done. TikTok's, real algorithms are different than, paid ad algorithms. They're everywhere. Google pay-per-click ads, good. It can be okay for a short period of time. They're a long game. But Facebook is probably where you're going to get most of these days. Yes.
About Facebook, do you have to have a business page?
Yes.
Do Facebook ads?
Yeah. Facebook does not acknowledge your personal page as an advertising platform. You must have your Facebook or Facebook business page. You should also have a Google and Yelp and whatever else is out there. Uh-huh. I can't tell you how many leads have come into a team that I've ran or owned based off of that. So 100%. Google pay-per-click ads, though, especially when you're running a longer campaign, do tend to be higher quality leads.
You said, I'm sorry, Google pay-per-click and what else?
Pay-per-click, so PPC is the little acronym for it. Yeah, they are usually a little higher than inquiry. So I do want to let you know that, but as with anything that's better, what does it do? Costs more, okay? It's a long game.
So Google's the best one, but it costs more, is that what you're saying?
Honestly, like bare minimum, 3 months, $500 for a campaign a month, bare minimum. Will get you quite a bit. It'll get your phone ringing off the hook, huh, Sabrina? And then when we stopped, what happened? Our phone stopped.
So just a comment real quick on those clip.
Paper per click.
If you're not the person that answers right away, you lose that lead really,
You do.
you're done. Because that's when they click, that means that they are interested today, not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow, not.
Wow.
Definitely.
No.
Yeah, anybody ever heard of the 5-minute response time? In general, with a lead that comes in, it has to be under 5 minutes. If not, because just like lenders and some vendors are a dime a dozen for us, they're nominating us for a business, we are that for the public.
Yeah, if they call you at random, they're gonna call the next person at random, so whoever picks up first gets it.
Nope, really.
How many times have you been looking for a referral agent in an area and you kept dialing until you got somebody to answer the phone, that's the person you use?
Same
Yeah.
concept. Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's almost like our job is to answer the phone.
No way.
Let's say it isn't. so.
Appalling.
Do you have some strips on that? I have a personal experience just recently with that. I have a tree that needs to be taken down, a very, very large tree. Right
Yeah.
next to my house. I clicked on something called Chips Chief Service because the guy was good. I didn't know I was in, whatever, some other thing.
Yeah,
I got no less than 40 phone calls in the first 25 minutes. And it was so frustrating.
yeah.
And
Because a lot of these places, the leads are syndicated somehow and pushed to their other sites.
Actually, company, and then they go out and sell.
They do. You're 100% right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
So you asked if there was a script. Can you be a little bit more specific?
Well, I don't want to be one of the 40 people that just try to call.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? And I don't even know if that's the experience, because I haven't done this.
Yeah,
You mentioned somebody over here that had done it. Is it that fast and furious, or is it? I guess what would be the strategy to not be one of those guys? It's like, no, I'm not, no.
Of the 40 calls you got, which one do you remember?
yeah.
Use that one.
I like that. That is,
I
that's a
started
good
hanging up on
reason.
every single one.
Well, I'm saying you're hanging up, listen to them, and I listen, I get cold calls, I listen to them, because we cold call all the time, and I kind of listen to them to see what they're doing, what caught me. Cause I turn around and use it, so of those 40 calls, which one caught you?
So
Yeah.
you gave us lists on January 1st.
Yeah.
Oh, Rachel, you gave us lists on January 1st.
Yeah,
And-
that was expired.
Right, but still, it was a list, so I started calling these, and people were like, well, you're the 100th person to call, must be on some list
I
somewhere,
get that to you.
all right? But what you have to be is, don't pitch them, talk to them. You have to ask questions
Yeah.
that are capturing, you can't be. Are you looking to sell? Are you,
Are you still entertaining offers?
are you still doing the same? And see, I don't even go there.
That's the first thing I have. Are you still entertaining offers? Yes or no? And it kind of just go from there.
Yeah,
You are, you're still entertaining offers. Did you receive offers when you're on the market?
yeah,
Yes.
that's a good expired.
You know, just
term.
kinda keep-
Yeah, or FISBO.
Keep it
Like-
positive.
Personally, I go, hi, I'm not sure if it's for you or not, but I saw your house online and, I noticed it's not there anymore. Are you still interested in selling? And you'd be surprised at how many people listen to that whole thing rather than just when I call up, say, are you still interested in selling? Click. I was
That's
gonna
it,
click,
but-
click.
Word. He said, listen, what did you say?
Are you still entertaining offers?
Offers. You said, are you still wanting to sell your house?
Mhm.
You give them reason to say no.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
did. That's the out. he said, are you still accepting offers? That could mean a bunch of different things. And do I have an offer coming in? That's what it triggers.
Yeah.
You triggered the other one. It's,
Right.
I'm out.
So you can, just by what you're saying, you can just turn everybody off in a heartbeat.
Okay,
Yeah.
tonality.
Yeah.
Yeah, tonality and wording phrases is huge. And I'm gonna tell you on Tuesday, I'm thinking like first week, second week, so I'm thinking Monday, Tuesday. Next Wednesday, we're going to go into like extreme scripting, okay? One of the people I'm bringing in for you, a close friend of mine, we've actually traveled through KW. She's not with KW, but she was an active agent here. I'm just needing the background now so I can prep. She was an active agent. COVID hit. You know, either you got pregnant or divorced, right? Am I wrong? Like, if you think of statistics, like, yeah, I was so happy. My baby making stuff was down. I was like, okay, cool. We're like, I'm safe from making babies. So, COVID just created a whole bunch of crazy. So she unfortunately was getting a divorce and she had 2 small babies. And so the company that, or the team that I was, helping run, she went from being an agent to a licensed ISA. Okay, licensed ISA, so much stronger. So compared to an unlicensed, that's a whole different conversation for another time. However, she killed it. She was taught, I mean, she would go in and her thing now, council expired and physicals were her lead source. Now she's wholesale, pre-foreclosures and things like that. So the conversation's a little bit different, but equally as tough. She'll straight, like if they start balking, she'll go, oh, wait, Mom, I just want to talk to you. Okay, it again, like even with texting, because we're gonna go into that, because I've got some hacks. You said that 2 calls. We're gonna talk about making 2 calls, not 1, because people don't like to answer the first time. But texting, be informal. First off, you don't trigger the filtration components within carriers, but just be authentically real. We don't have to be so stuffy. Okay, it's gonna go off. They're looking for a sales pitch. Don't give them a sales pitch. Listen to them. Okay, so in our scripting thing, we're gonna go over a couple different models of the right questions to ask if you want to say. I'm not a proponent of reading from a script. I'm a proponent of understanding your objections and having your handlers defaulted within your head, depending on the lead source. Come in, take a seat. It invokes a much more organic response, which in turn gives us a more organic response from whoever we're calling, okay? So, just to give you a preview on Wednesday, because scripting has come up quite a bit today. We are going to go through acronyms, because we're real estate agents. LPT MAMA, and we think, what is that? It is an acronym for appointing to appointment, okay? The Ford method, the 3 outcomes of a listing. So home gets no showings, little activity or it sells. The 4 pain points, location, condition, price, and marketing. Those are the things that cause the house to not sell, okay? And then setting an appointment, 3 no's. So not one of those is going to be a read from script. Okay, it's going to be a much different, more interactive type of thought-provoking, you know, response building and relationship with core building type of script. Okay, any questions? Because we veered off like times now. Is everybody good? Because I think we're, well, I'm just going to say 10-minute break. Let's stretch, get something to drink, go use the little girl's boys room.
Take a look at lunch.
Oh, okay. Lunch is here, so if you want to start eating, I don't care.
I've got a real quick question. Okay, I have a bunch of people that know and like me, but they know me like me. Okay, I've spoken in front of them, they've seen me all different subjects, but I have all their information, but I can't just shoot an email. You know, I want to get them to trust me. So to get those permissions, I just do it. It's only been my church, I'll go to church, I work, all that, I've spoken, I'm part big.
Yeah, so like churches, like, I would do a Popeye for church.
Okay, yeah, okay,
You know,
just,
like we do for Halloween or something like
Yeah.
that.
okay, yeah, because,
That's what I would do for that.
okay, good, because I just want, and after I do that, I at least think that it's more, if I'm there knocking on the door, pop by, then it's one, okay? Because I've had mixed, I only did a small sample in some.
Again,
Yeah,
like,
So the
we have
permission-
some kind of value to be able to provide, so.
well, I got leads, I mean, I still got a house, I would do, but at the
Yeah.
same token, it's the whole fact of getting the trust piece. Because if they just think I'm a bottom feeder, if I'm just exploiting that whole situation.
So that's why like some of it is passive and passive business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like for church,
Yeah.
it makes sense to do like a cute little Popeye attached to something
Okay,
that they're gonna keep or something, you know what I mean?
okay.
And you're remaining relevant to that. And as for the business, you know anything, right?
Yes, anything cheap you could think of for $500.
No, seriously, because I specifically do a lot of different things, like, you know, me, I'm cheesy and corny, right? No, but now I'm sad.
Okay,
So, you know, it's cheesy and corny, right? So she had one that was like lemon squeeze or easy peasy lemon squeezy. Let me help make real estate easy. And it was attached to like a little lemonade packet. Like, you know what I mean? She has a whole list.
yeah, okay.
How simple is that?
This is big, sort of trick, you always first, because I got all those door express RES, and I want to put on 20, 30. And everything.
Yeah, let's have like, yeah, that one's different though. I mean,
That's just it, I want to get the band because I was a co-chair for a whole bunch of.
So remember that little packet that she put together and that branding that you're working on, the concept is giving your time back to them, right?
Yeah.
And everybody, so maybe that Popeye that you have with them needs to be
Yes.
symbolic to that.
Well, we'll see these guys.
That's not kind of like make a brownie packet or something, you know, something that they could maybe do with their branding. Right?
Oh, yeah, or just, so, yeah.
Yeah, or something, something,
Okay.
the middle, you know,
Oh,
like family.
yeah, my fiance's is my back down and some of that stuff. Well, good.
Stop it.
No, she could do it for me. Carmen.
Like you're getting something? Cool.
Yeah.
Who are you using? 38. I really know what I am. Yeah, I think. Yeah. So now just have it.
Now we have it. Yeah, it's so hard. We can go.
Generally needs to stay on.
You're 40,000. Those other ones. Yeah.
But remember, it's not. But you know, I'm not sure. But you know, we know. And so. I'm good, how are you? Great. Well, yeah. But when the industry is wrong, that's all. I know nothing. Now's the time.
Yeah,
And that is when the prices go up and the interest rates go down, you already have a. You know, and you have. And not. Yeah.
Marriage still. Forward.
I will. Money. That's a horrible problem to have.
No, the thing is that we.
So here.
Call them the other response. We're working on it.
Yeah.
They were, she's serious. 35.
This one. So there was a weekend. Well, I've got some things that I can talk about when he's ready. Let him know that I'm getting all over it. I told you that. Way. Oh, I understand, and I'm not, I understand life happens a part of it. You don't want to move up, and then back to those boxes. And some things that I can either investor in, bigger projects, or you can.
Make sure you're utilizing everything. Yeah, I guess these are. Yeah.
Road,
Yeah, we'll probably still keep that.
Well, I'm running across something.
I know.
We're gonna get.
What was that?
That's not the problem. I'm not the way. I'm training,
You know, right about, right?
this has gone down, I have been $6. My lower back, I was getting surgery on my lower back.
Gotcha.
My knee was,
It rained.
I'm wearing a smile.
Okay.
I mean, I felt like.
Yeah.
That's a big deal for the size of the body. I went from, I went from straight down to.
Not on the high end, but it, you know, it's not too far. And then some people
Well, I'm happy.
right in there.
I.
Right.
Really cool sign. You going here, from here. Then
I know, I think I put on like one of the invites, be prompt, but.
I'm sorry. We're just.
oh, yeah, that is me right there. So might be.
I was in the back.
Put somebody on the gate.
And Alex says, check all your friends and make sure that they're out there. So he did. And then she was, yeah.
Remember, like, my dog there.
And that's his way.
I'll look about here.
So, where are we up here?
Yeah.
And then.
I did, all the things that were happening. I don't actually.
My guess is.
It's super frustrating.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about it. I'm like, I'm like, what's the lead?
I walked over to one of these. Part of that code was from
I'm like, what are you talking about? And the whole, I'm like, okay, and I'm not excited here, but I checked my during the. So let's start. Mark, Jason went off. Me too. And then Mark. Yeah. But I'm trying to figure out, so, yeah. And I see what you're talking about. I've been responsive by some reasons. If you get any offers, make it just reframe it. Well, I'm not here to post it. Yeah. I don't wanna know, because I'll know it's gonna go back to my question. I'll know they're gonna sit there. And then I'll ask them, was it okay if I all the time? After that, well, sure, then I'll put my dad paid for 9 months and I recall them like. So he's farming them just keep it hot. So.
Well, we actually, when we had our call night, we had a bell ring.
Yeah.
So we got to celebrate something, right? We actually had a call night here. And it helped with that. And then the lender was much more proactive when we did get somebody. They actually worked on a little harder because they realized.
Oh, when you are.
Well, we had to go through to get that one phone call and said, yes. We're. I'm sorry. I'm looking for somebody.
So here's.
Well, I live in Whitman, so I started there, and there's so many places that just got quit in Whitman, and it's so spread out, it's hard to knock doors. So I was doing that, I've moved basically to 107th and, Beardsley, in Benton Lakes area. And then Richard in the Worcester South, I had to call Gotham. And I got two. I gotta put my other two on this. One with, and Bell, and the other one is about 30 minutes from there down south, of Camelback in Norwalk, or not Camelback, yeah, Camelback.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to see him this afternoon. I'm gonna listen to him. This one ran yesterday. He's got to wait and see. You know, one of those phone calls where I got the best one. And I'm like, yeah, right. And I walked in the house and it was. I mean, this guy has traversing on the wall and he's kitchen floor and ceiling. I mean, you don't see that. Not just that, but something all the way up and the whole house had down building. The garage is gonna have everything is immaculate. I mean, so, okay, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's kind of the best one we did. And yeah, you got the best one. When we're looking at the left, one way on the work, but they will, but you gotta. We got them out for the city. We're the best when they get all these. Well, no, I thought. That's what I saw. And he's next. He's next north side, and we have lots of. Yeah. So maybe a little bit before. And. I think it's going to be. It's not time to. So I'm still got. But. No, I've been a work. Initially, that was I kept on 4 years. At this point,
They don't need the.
Go on. I wasn't working. I was a neighbor, so they want to go. Yeah. The paper,
It's like there's digital life.
I mean, I'm a third generation Arizona resident, but I was really focused on money.
So
No,
I think.
they've already got somebody by the time they come. Their house is already sold, but they're calling me because, hey, we just signed a contract yesterday, going out there, we're gonna do. So very rarely do I get a lead from that, so I get their neighbor or their friend, I'm going to work that week, so I get that. It's just good. But this last, I mean, the first year I was in programs, I didn't really $50,000. Wonderful, but it's not horrible. Last year, I was in.
You brought them up.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I think it was because it started. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, not yesterday. I woke up in the morning, I got a phone call from Cummins. One of Cummins movement. So I was talking to her, I said, oh my God. So I'm in a great mood. I've got money in my pocket, maybe $500 back to the pocket. Look at me, I can play great. And I went and made phone calls. Yeah, but so it's me. It's nothing else. I've got to figure out what the time on how to control it. And it's easier said than done.
Yes,
And,
that's the truth there, yeah.
you know, so if I can help you guys with moving your clients, we do one job, we have to try and start. I'm gonna give you the ones that aren't. I'm looking for Hawaii. Okay. I'm trying to hang on to the magnetic ones for the Google service. But, no, I really, I just saw her, 4 years ago in June, I met a lady from Detroit, the Anchorage Lab. And, she wanted us to follow her. So I would have taken this down all the way across the United States and north. We went north and then across from Canada. Well, this fuel was probably about Canada first. Worse was $4. But thank God I had like. Anything over $4. But. I didn't know what was it like. Let me tell you what, when I crossed the border. That's about a microscope. I wonder if I had to go 3/4 of this truck. Right there on the side of the road. I mean, that's. Got in. Oh, yeah, and I'm like, no. I'm thinking about statement here. She packed the boxes. Yeah. I love it in the trucks. She's standing there and she said, yes, I packed the boxes. But the one round of ammunition with the somewhere.
Not only getting.
But anyway, so where are you? Oh, we're.
Paradise Valley. I've been in Old Town, selling them, there's 2012. Yeah. Saving it for passing it out. So we do a lot of, our office holds stuff there. Yeah. We call them.
You can make all the calls you want.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the right thing. I've done 2 years. As long as they attitude or like coach goes, you know what, if you want me $1 here and $1. That's not me.
I don't think about it.
I thought it was bullshit. You know.
No, it is. You've got to have that attitude, good attitude on the phone, and knowing what you're doing, because they feed off it, they feel.
Well, and I'm finding with the Scottsdale list, it's not a real citizen have their own house to build this fire.
Yes.
And you can call them.
Okay, and then there's 1320s are a thing.
I'm laughing. You're doing that. Unless it's I say, I was. Northern California, why?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just so alone. You don't mind asking.
You first, I used to talk about, and we can go to the first question you said?
What you had on the market, you received the offers.
I didn't. Unlicensed.
And they say yes, then why did you entertain it? Well, it wasn't what I
Well, I
wanted.
mean, it's like, so its own thing,
Right.
but,
Well, they got me good, everybody's selling, so we look at that. Bottom line, what are you looking at that? Then you can build your commission. They're kind of, that's kind of your basic question. What are you looking at that? And sometimes they'll add, sometimes they won't. Sometimes, they feel offended. Then I'll turn on and ask them if there's a tenant in place. Well, Are you familiar with 5% cap rate right now? What's that? So you know what the cap rate is? Yes, no, you get it. Okay. It's basically, are you like a cap rate? So you understand what the first question you said? So, and that's, you have a tenant in place right now. And
Don't
I
worry.
asked them, if you're fine with picking up the 5% cap rate, what is that? Then I have them get the rent, 10 to 12, I tell them divide it by 0.05. That's what someone's gonna buy the house for. And I think so I try and turn it into potential investment.
They take the rent,
Times 12,
times 12,
divided by 0.05.
divided by 1.15.
Whatever number you get there, after you buy the house, bring it back to the cap rate.
Oh, no. It's all-
I mean, I know how, I can go to my, and figure out how to do cap rate, but knowing how to solve
I'll
that.
send it.
Yeah, I understand, but I make the tenant payment I can, the cap rate, I get a calculator.
We just kind of broadcast it so you guys can-
I can calculate it out, so I tell them, that's what your house is really worth, at 5% cap rate right now, then the best is gonna buy it.
Yeah, 100%.
Two ways.
Yeah, obviously, you have
And it's a place, I get, if you buy the tenant, great, what is the tenant pay?
My door's
I
open.
can sell the tenant in place.
Right, but if you're not charging enough, then it.
Then it doesn't make sense, so here's the one on rent 2011,
Yeah.
you're you're kicking off 2% cap, I get that.
I had a guy who wanted to sell $3 million worth of real estate. It was, one, I don't know how much real estate exactly, but it was, he had 30 homes. And the 30 homes were spread out in South Whitman, Sunset, Sunset West, and like.
Me too.
And they were averaging about 50,000 apiece, something like that. But his rents were,
Growing, yeah.
you know, instead of being 2,200, there were 1,200.
That's it.
And no investor in the world wanted to touch it because it's too long to fix what you messed up.
Yep, you didn't rate, you should have been rated, like, I'm a landlord, and I rated the value.
I get it. I'm a landlord.
Yes.
I'm much rather be a landlord than landlord, but I bought a mobile home. That lady that I talked to, a mobile home, she wanted
We're gonna.
$7,000. I said, well, I can give you 5. And it was like, you owe 3,500 to the park, I'll pay that off. We'll move you, we'll move you to California.
Yeah, that's super smart.
And put $1,000.
That's where I'm gonna push you guys anyways.
And we wanted to do a deal. I cleaned the house up, fixed the front step and. Yeah.
So I think we took our lunch break early.
Yeah. And my kids, they,
Hey, I love it, man. Like, let's just have fun.
oh, my kids, you know, we didn't have before.
The risk too.
But, so now, every month on the first of the month, I get a check. Deposit in my account. I just gotta make sure I pay the deposit when they rate. You know, I don't ever have to fix a toilet. But my father was a property manager when I was a kid. We lived a mountain here and the man didn't have 70 homes. So
Oh, my gosh.
that's a long time.
I know.
I know, it was.
See? Like right now, I'm thinking about
Where are your houses mostly?
In Old Town Scottsdale,
No.
I've had it for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do see, no.
I love it. We'll give you more. Because we'll probably sell it.
I wanted to let you know, I'm here next week. I'm doing San Diego, like berries.
Oh, that's.
Bring back notes.
Yeah. Deal, I'll have it recorded, so I'll just send it to you. Deal?
Sounds good.
And then if you have any questions, it's more scripted. And stuff. If you- Are you guys having fun?
Yeah.
Are we getting some things?
Yeah.
Perfect. How about you, Jason?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Okay. I know. Don't be better than that. I'm gonna tell everyone else. All right, I'm gonna go get some water.
Last night.
Thanks. His wife is in.
Congratulations. Ah, perfect, okay. How about you?
Going for that.
It'll be fun.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
How you guys How do you like? You know. I was told it, so I granted, my daughter is pricing all the chart. You're like, because I don't have this. Yeah, you know, where, like, it's a town.
But when I did it open house, sorry.
My side, I'm like, all right, I might,
No.
We're not gonna.
All right, are we good? Are we ready to go into the next piece of leads?
Of course.
Okay. Any questions or ahas before we begin? Now that you've like been able to kind of break away and step away and breathe for a hot second. No? Oh man, it's an easy crowd. I bet you $1,000 I'm gonna get calls out there.
Maybe.
Okay. So we're gonna start to break down paid versus free based off of each slide of what we know. Cancels, expired, FSBOs, so on and so forth, okay? You guys will notice that two handouts were given. Okay. When we talk about anything paid, it will be on these pages, okay? Yes. These QR codes go back to pricing. If it doesn't, I'm sorry, as I said before. I think they go to all pricing. I hope so. It'll at least go to the website. Anyways, these will be the things we are going to talk about, but for everything that you're seeing when we talk about paid, I'm going to give you all the free options. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and set the stage. I believe that when an instructor stands up here, we end up learning more than you guys do most of the time. And I believe that we should be constantly tweaking, evolving, and doing those things and making our business or whatever we're putting out better and more efficient and doing all the things. I cannot share or express, and I can get emotional, how thankful I am that you guys all showed up. Okay, this is my brain over 12 weeks around listings. So I love criticism and feedback. So after each class, you'll be given this, and I will ask that you give a survey on the class and be honest. If you not like it, I want you to say so. If you think something could be better, or you didn't get value somewhere, I want you to say so. If you loved it, and I don't annoy you being bouncing all over the thing, then say so. Okay, if there was an aha that you had that you didn't say here, but you'd love to say there, say so. Okay. I want to make and tweak and make sure that every time that we do something like this, it's beneficial for you. It's not beneficial for me. It needs to be beneficial for you. Okay. Oh wait, that was that one. Sorry, white one, not red one. And in addition, when we go through GPS and stuff, I did create a digital thing for you. Okay, paid ads versus free. So I'm gonna go to this one first. Serena Williams says, everything comes at a cost, just comes down to how you want to pay for it, okay? Why pay if you can get for free? Because free usually comes at a cost at time. So you pay for convenience. Both are usable, depends on your choice of payment, okay? So when you talk about the paid stuff, understand it's gonna make things more efficient and it's gonna be easier. We're gonna pay for that convenience, okay? If it's free, there is a chance that there might be a couple of extra steps, okay? So your return, you know, your payment is your time, okay? And that, so understand there's a balance to both, okay? Not one is better than the other, necessarily. It's just there's a payment. Okay. Paid, expired and canceled. Okay. You do have the printout for this file, so the pricing up here. And I am going to be very opinionated about these and what I feel my critique is from personally using them, building teams and sources that had to use them, and also having colleagues that are still using them. I know y'all are taking pictures. That stuff is also on those handouts for you guys as well. But take pictures. I can photobomb for 2.
Supposed to have a handout on that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. You do.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not.
Oh, it's just-
Oh, you do? Okay, yeah. Yeah, so the QR code's gonna go back to the pricing, if you guys wanted to order it. I'm not soliciting any of these sources, right? It's just, I wanted you guys to not have to go, where was that? How do I get to it? Whatever. I did the work for it. You're welcome. Okay,
Do you have a preference?
yeah, I will be very honest about that. I'm not soliciting them, but I will have a preference, yes. Okay. Actually, we're gonna start this thing. This is the last one I used. I'm not a big fan of it. Vulcan 7 is probably the most upcoming, expired and canceled lead source, okay? It is really neat because it does act as a dialer, which is fantastic. Does anyone know what a dialer is? Okay. Do we know what a single line versus a triple line is?
Yes.
Okay. For those that don't, because some of these do have those in it, a single line means it's going to dial, wait for a hang up or an answer or whatever to dial the next. A triple line is going to do that. It's going to just dial, and you're robo dialing essentially through a list. Okay, you can rip their list really quick. But again, you usually pay for a triple line dialer. You can pay extra for that. Yeah.
Well, when you do the triple line dialer, is that the one where you answer the phone and there's nobody there, and then all of a sudden somebody comes on after 10 seconds or something like that? Is that what?
Yeah, a single line dialer can do that too, though. Any dialer.
That's your cue to hang up.
I mean, I do.
I do too. I'm just curious. I don't want to be that guy.
I'm like robocall. No.
When it's a dead spot for 5 seconds, cool.
Yep,
Exactly.
You know you're getting a virtual system. It's happening.
yeah, 100%. So, I mean, our clientele they're smart. They know. You know what I mean? So,
They want a house.
So do you have that a lot with the triple dialer, or?
so Vulcan's a single line. It's not a triple line.
Okay.
So they have an amazing lead conversion program, and they even have challenges where they'll discount if you can meet the 30-day challenges. So the accountability around Vulcan 7 is pretty wicked. Scripting is really hard, role playing, accountability, like people want to make it all negative. It's really just practicing. But they're really good at that. That's why I put them up here. They also have access to an AI smart list called Likely to Sell. And again, this is where things are tracking us everywhere we go, because a homeowner has done something on the internet in relation to selling their house, finding a home value, Googling one word or whatever, it will throw them into that list. So, we have seen conversions from the likely likely to sell list. So that one's kind of cool. I'm just gonna say this as a caveat because it's the reason why this one has an issue and this one. Our ARM list is not very good about letting sites access it. You actually have to get permission. You have to actually get a form signed. It's like a thing. And so for some of these companies, our ARM lists, where a lot of other states, it's just a natural, third-party bot sync, usually not a direct. We struggle with that, okay? So Vulcan 7, for instance, they can't import, they can do an initial import of expired, cancels, FSBOs, things like that. But every day you have to go in and update it with the MLS. Yeah, so, I mean, you literally, for this price, I shouldn't have to put my leads in for you to skip trace it like that. I'm just gonna be honest. Okay, but again, same lead sources and the training is pretty stellar, okay? Redux, this one, I have mixed emotions about. I feel like it's a cross between Mojo and Vulcan. But we've noticed that it also doesn't pull, it pulls today's stuff, doesn't like let you search or pull larger lists or anything like that. But and also historically, the numbers have had to be skip traced. Okay, do we know what skip tracing is? Because I am going to talk briefly.
Clarify that,
Okay,
please.
skip tracing is essentially looking a phone number up, or, you know, okay, and there are skip tracing programs out there. There's some that are free. I gave you guys one, it's White Pages. It's probably most reliable. My favorite is Forewarn. It's on there, $20 a month. You have to be approved. No one can just buy an account. It gives you background, car history ownership, property history ownership, numbers over the last 20 years. You know what I mean? It's just historical data. When one person has an account, someone else can't get into it. Every time you log in, it's going to give you a code. It's pretty secure. So, but it is by far the best skip tracer I have found. Some of these have skip tracers built in. They're shit. Just gonna say it. They're shit. This is by far the best. And for $20 a month for you to be able to look any lead up who ghosts you or bad numbers, or it doesn't matter what list you're coming from, it is worth the $20 a month.
If you compare that to Truth Finder?
Yeah, it's better. 100%.
Is it ease of use? How hard
Super
is it?
easy.
Super easy.
Super easy. I mean, it's almost like a basic program, honestly. There's not a lot of bells and whistles and nuts bolts to it. It's pretty much put a phone number in or put name and some information that you might know in. Yeah.
An address?
It just pops.
Email?
That thing, it doesn't give you email, so. But the numbers, I mean, I want to say 9 times out of 10, but that's too low. How about 95% of the time, we're getting good phone numbers? Where maybe this lead source or Facebook gave us a crap number.
Found on open houses, people are generally willing to give their email. And it's super easy to get your phone number.
Because it's passive. Because our phone is connected to us.
Right.
It's connected. It literally is. Wait, is it not on us?
It's your electronic leash.
It is our electronic leash. So no, it's an intimate thing to give away. Okay. So yeah, so just keep in mind, Forewarn will be my recommendation to you because it is super cheap and it is the most reliable theme. I mean, I could do a background check. It gives background checks, like full criminal history and stuff like that. For us girls, I don't like seeing any of y'all doing open houses and stuff like that yourself. I just went out with a buyer, got a little scared. I forewarned us, but I want to make sure I wasn't going out with a creep. So it also helps protect you when you guys are going out, and that goes for the guys too. I mean, like, people are just nasty. So protect yourself. Okay, Mojo. This is probably the most widely used lead source for this, as well as providing a single or triple line dialer. It also does struggle with the integration with MLS. So it's pulling from third-party sources. So we've noticed that, where if I go into my favorite, I can pull an accurate list and I can go into Mojo and get a quarter of them. So there's a huge disconnect. And you're gonna pay 150 for the dialer. For expires and cancels, you're gonna pay another 25. Bizbos, you're gonna pay another 50. The skip trace, you're gonna pay another 20. So they're added on depending on what you need. So that can go up pretty quick. Okay. Land voice, by far my favorite. It is the most accurate. It doesn't have, yes.
Is that the one that you got the list you gave us off of?
The pool is probably, like, when it pulls from the MLS and stuff, it's probably the most accurate, and fastest. Because we're talking about cancels expireds, right? I just had a gentleman share with me, like, he has clients that are getting bombarded, what you said, like 82 calls or messages. Okay, because everybody wants to hit them. Okay, so, speed to lead matters. Okay, unless you're trailing in everything that didn't sell. But, so land voice is probably the most accurate. It does let you circle prospect, so you can pull all your neighborhood farming searches and things like that, which is fantastic. I highly encourage that if you get a listing and a buy, that you're circle prospecting that neighborhood, letting them know that you are relevant in here. So that's a great way to pull those lists. But we will talk about the free ones as well. You can filter and adjust views, and you can even go back a year. Okay, so if I wanted to historically look at, anything that didn't sell or even did sell, I mean, it's just the filtration, there's much better. You can look at second homes, equity, things like that. Okay, or absentee owners and things like that. Those are subcategories that we're looking at. Okay, when you're talking about farming lists and stuff like that, you always want to know who your FSBOs are in there, your expireds, any pre-foreclosures, if any. You want to know. So I'm just going through this. I just had like a full moment. Okay, so absentee owners and anybody with equity. So equity over 2 years, right? Because that means you're not gonna have to deal with the capital gains. Those are sub lists within your farming list or whatever list you pull that are worth having a conversation because they have a pain point and or need that is easier to come from a place of value and instead of problem solving. Okay, questions about paid, expired, and canceled?
Do you have any ROI numbers on that? I mean, what kind of payback comes from that? I'm sure it's extreme once it rolls, but.
No, because what I found is I have really good converters that use it, and then I have people that aren't.
Right.
So it comes down to your conversion and your scripting. It really does. I mean, paid, non-paid, are you having the right conversation? Any others? Okay. All right, let's talk about free. I love you, good deal. Okay. Title list. Not every title company does this, so please recognize that getting in relationship with a title company that is going to help you co-brand and market and support is key. We use Magnus Phoenix Title. We will talk a lot about mailers, door knockers, different types of print media. They co-brand, and I just gonna say it because I'm honest. I think it's shit when agents don't let someone who's providing value from a vendor to not co-brand. It is very selfish. Okay. So they will provide lists for you. They'll do that. And as a caveat to this, because we're going to talk a lot about titles specifically, if we use them, we use them. Okay. If we are making use of them, we then return the business. Okay. I see that often where we take advantage and we don't use them and then we break the relationship. It is meant to be a co-symbiotic relationship.
That's just common courtesy.
Yeah. But it comes up more than you would think.
Yeah.
It does. Everybody's trying to save a buck,
People
everybody,
decided it.
right, and I'm a proponent, like. And we're gonna talk about this, but our vendors are struggling just like we are, people. They're hurting just like we are. How fair is it if they go and put the money out hoping that you're gonna, because our vendors, like when we talk about lenders, title, inspectors, those components, who's their lead source that they're relying on for a lead flow?
Us.
It's us. So when we use the service, the extra services that they didn't even used to offer, okay? When we use those and we don't give it back, it's just not, it's not a good game. It's a dirty game. We're not playing dirty game.
Well, it'll go away.
Huh?
It'll go away.
Exactly.
Well,
And I'm gonna tell you, like with title specifically, what they do specifically, and we've had some other title, it's not what other title companies can do to support your business, not your client, your business, okay? Yes, you want the right escrow officer, please understand, I'm not saying divert away from that, but do understand that if that are not the right escrow officer for you, then you shouldn't be using any other stuff. Find someone else. There's another title company to do.
Can you explain what the paragraph under the referrals thing means?
Oh, so we're talking about cancels expired. Yeah, I know. Sometimes my wording is a little weird. So really what I'm saying is we talk about asking for referrals, right? Okay, and I'm asking when you're cold calling, hey, do you know anybody I should know? Okay, that's what I'm talking about no, I'm switching. So we're asking for referrals, but have we gone into our SOI to see if they know anyone who hasn't been able to sell their house? You know what I mean? Because we're such a big metropolis, not just because, what's your name, sir? John. Just because I'm using John doesn't mean my best friend's using John, right? So maybe they had a different experience. But I trust you because you've serviced, some of my transactions before. So, yeah.
I was just hung up on the last sentence.
Oh, you have to ask me. Oh, apparently I can spell. That's what doing a slide at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning does.
I didn't call it.
I don't even think I finished that sentence, but really what I was saying, I know what my thought process was, and really.
Tequila.
I should start drinking. I'm like a horrible real estate agent, like, so really what I was gonna say is if we don't have anything and we don't, and we ask and the answer is no, then we still don't have anything. We don't lose anything. That's where I was going with that, but that is not, that's like yelling.
The word cost.
Huh?
Doesn't cost it.
Oh, it doesn't cost, it might could have been that. one.
Asking doesn't cost anything.
Or her. Yeah, but that was the premise, was that it doesn't, it's not gonna cost you anything to have to ask. Yes.
Okay, this might be a little bit of a long shot, but it was just making me think about other agents' listings when they've had them for a long time. And believe it or not, I've had 3 agents call me themselves before it expired and said, hey, especially in my farm, I know you do a lot of business here. I feel really bad. It's my in-laws or it's my good friend. I live in Gilbert. I don't think I'm not getting it done. Since I've had this listing, you've sold like 8 houses or whatever. Will you take it to sold for that? So quite a bit, like literally like a family.
I need to live in Spiro's world.
Right?
Other agents are literally their business.
Now you can almost call somebody like that's been listed 180, 200, 250 days. Call the agent and say, and like in my case, I've been on a business here. When you're ready to, if you can get me to be when it expires, I think I have a better chance of selling it. Obviously you haven't. I'll give you a referral fee if you make sure I'm the next person after you.
Well,
So, Spiro, you have a set of cojones. Okay, and I respect that. And if that's something that you're willing to do, I just would be prepared of the response that was gonna come back.
What I'm saying is you have to back it up with, listen, your house, this has been listed 300 days and I've sold 6 just like it.
Yes, you're an experienced agent and you have that value and that experience within a neighborhood. Is that agent experience? You know what I mean?
It's a long,
Or,
rare, but it's
Yeah.
interesting. You would think that would never happen, but it actually happened.
and I love that, but soliciting for it, I would be prepared. I'm not saying don't do it. I mean,
Maybe there's a script that does it more.
I think we need to construct a script for that. Yeah, that's a little bit softer than that. So you do your freaking jobs for getting people in. No,
Put on your brown helmet.
If they can get a referral fee upon the expiration.
And I
of the
agree with you.
cancellation, That might be
Yeah.
some way to capture.
So I 100% agree with you, and I think that putting a good script to that so that the conversation can be a fluid one. I don't say don't do it. I mean, the fact that you had that happen, so you know the values there of you being the neighborhood expert, right? I just think that you need to think a little bit more about it so you can have a positive
Yeah.
experience from trying to turn that around. That's all. Because we get prideful, you know what I mean? And when we can't do something, especially real estate, we don't want to give up.
So food for thought.
Yeah.
Because everybody likes to blame somebody else.
Agree.
Right? When you're having that conversation, hey, what's going on with your seller? Not you, the agent, what's going on with your seller? No different than when we call it canceled, expired and say, hey, what happened with your agent,
Mhm.
right? And
I like that.
we
There you
let
go.
the
There's part of your
seller-
script.
And we let the seller just vomit why their agent, so like, we didn't tell them their agent to do that,
Yeah.
right? It expired, it canceled,
Yeah.
we know they didn't. But just, hey, what happened?
And then you
Just
follow
like
it up to
mine.
the man,
That's the
yours.
same conversation you have with an agent on the flip side,
Agreed.
right? Like, you
I love
know,
it.
Your seller.
There's Spiro's first part to it. Yeah.
And then you follow it up with, gosh, sucks to invest 180 days of your time and not get paid.
Yeah, then
After
you're going
it
back to the
expires,
point.
You're gonna end up with nothing, right?
Yes, because we play good with the kids on the playground. Right? She was talking about code of ethics earlier, right? What is our job? Our job is to interact with each and every agent and each and every client in a way that we assume that it will impact future business. That is always putting us in a
Yeah.
place where we're acting in our client's best interest. Because we
Agreed.
never know when we're gonna run into that agent again, when we're gonna run into that client's friend, et cetera.
Yeah.
right? So he called, it has nothing to do with the agent.
I'm sitting
What's
in on
going
those
with your
calls.
seller?
Would love to do that with you. I think that would be fun. Spiro, I will sit and lead general
Right,
with
yeah,
you.
there's this, sort of to take out the personalization of it, like, I'm not coming after just you and 250, 300 days. I have a new program or I have a program that, the criteria falls into, you just happen to be an agent who the criteria falls.
And again, there's a good, right? That's a softer slide in, right?
Where I'm off, right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, take myself out of it. Well, I was just thinking back, why I was told that I was called by the agents. I think they said to me that and these are the reasons why I'm actually gonna hand it off to you and I'm gonna get out of this. And
Yeah.
actually, in every case, they didn't even want it. In that case, they felt so bad that they hadn't
Oh
sold
my
it.
God.
They're like, can you just please help them sell it because I can't get it.
I don't even know how to respond to that. I don't know any agent that's like,
And
no.
in one particular, it was, I think because it was his in-law, like, maybe he thinks the expectations are not as good, like, it wasn't a professional photo. There's no pictures of the backyard. The backyard was a dirt lot after 10 years, it still hadn't been done. I sold that house in 6 days because I focused on the backyard and said, for anybody who wants, to do their own project from scratch, here's your best chance to do that. He ignored it. It wasn't even, you couldn't even see a picture of it. He was no mention of it. And I literally sold the house in 6 days on 400 days with it.
Perception and highlighting on a listing is key. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I love
I
that.
think maybe there's some, again, it's probably more of a launch out of all these, but to keep them in the loop of it.
Yep.
And, there's gotta be.
I think you definitely have a sub,
Yeah.
little thing niche in there. So explore it.
Mhm.
I like it. I like the thinking outside the box too.
Yeah, I think you can do for anybody that's been on the market 300 days with money, right?
Yeah, but again, I'm just gonna go back to like what we call a pre-foreclosure versus a canceled expired, right? There's an emotional attachment, and with us, and I'll just be honest, I believe money is an emotion. Okay, money changes things for people, good, bad, in between, it's an emotion, so just being conscious of that in your scripting and how you're, but I think it's a great idea, I love it, I mean, I love, Sparrow, book some time with me. You need to chat. Okay, but I like that we're veering off, but we're coming back. Okay, so we kind of went here. MLS, you do realize that every lead source anywhere else is pulling from. Well, it syndicates, that's why, and then they syndicate, and they, you know what I mean, it goes on and it goes on. This is your hub. You will always pull the most current expired cancel information from here. Caveat, even though we also love our MLS, also the reason why we love our MLS and hate it at the same time, we're not always going to get client information because it's protected, right? It was listed under another agent. So probably the best source of like immediate info, you know, like leads, but it's gonna require skip tracing, you know?
I did something recently, it's work, but, and I did a very small area, so
Yeah.
I did expired, certain time, price point, and then I was looking at histories, so I make sure if somebody was either active, like, because I'm looking at expired, then of course, another active, so I would, create a list of purely expired, go into tax records, print the sheet of all the tax records, so I basically was pulling address, I was getting phone numbers, but then I gave that list to the title company, and I got phone numbers and email addresses.
Yes, so again, here we go back to the title. A full concierge title company, we'll call it that. They're gonna do things like that. So yes, you put the footwork in and they went and did the skip tracing and pulling up the information or whatever.
And that's where Truth Finder, and I assume the forewarn does, I mean, you can do the same thing really very fast. Like putting that in, finds out last owner, who sold it, it gives you all of that.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's gonna pull the contact up and then it's gonna give you all contact information, whatever forms they're all current.
You can do it back too. I mean, you can do it without any of their information. That's how I do it. I use Truth Finder. And I do it probably too much because I fall on rabbit holes very quickly. And spend too much time. But I get all of it. I get they're all on Facebook. I find out where they work, what they do. So then when I'm talking to them, I can relate to that person very quickly.
Yeah, no, I love it. You're trying to come from a place of value. It also sounds like you're spending a lot of time. So you're definitely, that's what you're paying for is your time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's probably ways to do it a little bit more efficiently, for sure. Love it. So do know, and that, you know, $20 a month, and pull your expires every morning, the listed, you know, whatever. Whatever you want, because you can search and do the quick searches however you need to, so you can limit it and be very intentional. And farming, canvassing, and again, collaborating with a title company that can provide some print to pass out to, right? So is it a flyer? Is it a Popeye? Is it a door knocker? Do we know what those are? Oh, we know the flyer ones, I hope. Okay, door knocker, little hole.
Yeah.
Just kind of, or door hanger, either one. Yeah. And then Popeye. Popeyes are usually meant for intentional things, not necessarily the whole farm, because you're usually going to put something cute with it. Like, I'm trying to think of some of the ones, like a little cheap ice cream scoop, and, you know, do you want the latest scoop on the real estate market? Or, I mean, there's ways to do, you know, we do a lot of Halloween or Christmas and holiday stuff like that. But, that farming piece, it allows you to create face-to-face opportunities. And then, again, I know no one wants to door knock. I don't recommend it in the middle of our summer. Okay, I think that's asinine. But it is still necessary. Okay, you're building a face-to-face. Okay, how many of you hate making cold calls because you feel like you can convert better in person? Yeah. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of our natural go-to, right? Because over the phone, now if you smile and actually talk on the phone the way that you talk in real life, it will convey. It's actually very odd. It comes through to an Oh, did you, were you telling
We were
me?
just talking about that 10 minutes.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah,
In fact, my coach sat a mirror in front of me and I had to look at myself in the mirror and smile at myself when I was talking, and it made a big difference.
It
I heard
does.
Mark talking and he nailed it on the head. It doesn't matter how many calls you make. It's what you say and how you say it. Otherwise you're wasting your time.
Yeah, exactly. So that does transfer, but when we're in person, you know what I mean? We can see, we can feel, like, because there's that magnetic.
There's no fake.
Yeah, you
Santa
just really
Fe fake.
can't. I mean, you gotta be like a master, you know.
You can't have your notes.
Yeah, but most of us, we're gonna exchange that natural organic exchange of energy and feeling or transfer, whatever you wanna call it, but. So I don't want you, so if you don't wanna go door knock and be intentional, pull your expired absentee owners and stuff like that. And only do those ones instead of the whole neighborhood, you know what I mean? But get your face out there. There's a couple of things we're gonna talk about farming too. Okay, any questions about the free sources for them? Or how we might access them? Okay. All right, so paid FSBOs. You'll see that they're pretty much the same. Okay, the free one is the one that changed a bit. So Vulcan will give you FSBOs, Red X will, Mojo and Manvoice. Still the most reliable. This one's spotty and that one's spotty. Vulcan's better with the FSBOs because it's not a direct link with MLS. We're mostly pulling from Zillow. Okay, but Landvoice has, like I said, just been the best we have. So I'm not even gonna spend time.
So is it zip code driven, neighborhood driven? How?
It can be. Oh, this one can't be. This one can be. This one you can do circle prospecting or neighborhood searching. This one's not. And that one's a little spotty. Only lets you go so far out. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Okay. Any others?
Does it work at Casco? I've not done this at all. I've heard about it. This is another piece of doing. So you're on Land Voice. I'm sitting at my desk at my office and it's automatically calling through my phone. Is it?
So
delivering-
Landvoice won't, Mojo, Redx and Vulcan will. They're dialers. Landvoice, it's almost like for the accurate and wonderful information they give you, it's not a dialer, but you can export.
So.
So you can export the full list.
Yeah.
And
So Land Voice is just paid ads. It's not a dialer at all.
no, it's no dialer, yeah.
No, you get a Mojo and get Landvoice MLS code and it just loads it.
Yeah, so we would take like, you know, when we were pulling cancel, subscribe this was whatever, we take the beginning, you know, days, we'd load it because it's a quick import into our CRM. You know, tag them appropriately and things like that, and we would dial through our CRM, because a lot of CRMs allow for a single line dialer.
So when you're using one of the dialers and if you connect with somebody, does it pop up on your screen what house they're talking about, or are you just going?
Yeah, the dialers have like a almost mini lead page that is almost on top of the program platform landing page, if you want to call it.
Mojo, you can click on Zillow, you can look on their social media too.
Yeah, that's.
And while you're talking to them?
Yeah.
I've never used, I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's got scripts and that one's pretty interactive when it comes to lead pages.
Which one?
Mojo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a clean lead page. If he's right, yeah. you can-
So Land Voice is actually just more manual.
No, I mean, manual on the fact that you're gonna export it, you know, and put it into a dialer or your CRM or something. It's just the most accurate information with the more filtration and stuff like that. So you can be more intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent filters.
Yeah.
So, and I'm a filter girl. I mean, I'm operations heavy. I'm super operations heavy. So having automations and efficient programs that are doing the work that I shouldn't be is important. So for me, I'd rather dump it into a CRM that I trust and that information's accurate. That's my go-to, but I have worked all four of these. Okay.
That's what I haven't.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds best.
They used to have there used to be like signage that they used to do for FSBOs. That's how they became big. That's a whole different story though. You had something.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I already saw it.
Oh, you already typed in. Okay.
As far as the list you gave me though, out of the 6 pages I've been through, I probably had 3 listings that none of the phone numbers pertain to.
Yeah, and that might happen. It might,
But I mean, out of
all of them.
100 and, I don't know how many, there was single space, there's a lot of them on there.
Where I might tell you, like, you're gonna go into here and pull a list or get their things, and I'll be in forewarned half of my dialing session, having to skip trace because Mojo's numbers weren't correct. Same thing with Redx and Vulcan. Well, Vulcan's half.
I'm not saying there weren't wrong numbers in there, but at least one of the 3 numbers that popped up was the owner.
And Landvoice also gives you multiple numbers, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mojo does too. Yeah. So. Okay, any other questions? Oh, it's my here, I'm sorry. You're in red, so just put Maxwell in part of the, yeah, go.
Does forewarn give you information about do not call or?
But, this one, and this one, all of them, because of those rules, will allow you to scrub the list before you call or export. It'll also let you not scrub the list, okay? Don't do that. Please, I mean, it's easy to get out of this, someone's like, I'm on the do not call list. I am so sorry, I'll update my records, like, it doesn't have to be a thing, but just don't purposely, call them.
Does it, when it scrubs it, does it put a DNC next to it, or does it cancel the number out completely?
Depends on the program. Like Vulcan has it next to the numbers, it'll say DNC. Mojo, I don't know. Trying to remember how they do theirs.
Takes
It's
it off
on-
the list.
Does it take it out of the list
Yeah.
automatically?
Like, yeah, the option does mark your.
Yeah, you're right, it does.
You put
Yeah,
do
so,
not call, it deletes them.
yeah. So it'll remove it, so it's not even an option.
So I don't know if anyone else has had success, and because this can't be a unique idea, when I get my stuff from Title, because that's how I do it. And it has DNC on there, or whatever thing that says DNC, I'll text them with a statement along the lines of, I see that you're on the do not call list, I want to be very respectful, that my name is Michael D. King, blah, 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 and I'm only reaching out to you to help.
You do that currently?
I do that.
And what's your
I haven't
response
had
rate?
that.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Right?
You just sitting there waiting out there.
I know, he just,
And I'm-
he just said, because they're listening.
Digging a
Yeah.
hole over here.
So again, wording matters, right?
Right, right.
So you just said, hey, you registered for a no.
Yeah,
What I believe to be a no contact, even though it's not, we know it's not, it's something different.
I would admit to know.
Yeah.
I would never say, yeah, you're saying something really. I would
Yeah.
literally treat it just like, hey,
If you have that
we're
much
talking,
time, come on.
we're talking,
Say your house.
hey. You're still looking for offers, like, on your house or whatever. I would open up like that.
Actually, the back.
All you need to do is get them on the phone. That's the big
Yeah.
thing, right? And we are gonna go through some time. I love that. And please understand, I am a rule follower. I am all about respect and love and it really just not, yeah.
I'm also a vendor.
Are you? You're
Well,
one
this
of
is, to me,
Yeah.
it seems like it's a bend of the rule.
Well-
Because I do consider do not call this texting too, but it's not. I get
It's
it.
not,
But,
yeah.
so I think other people perceive it that way also.
It is the stigmata that it means to all communications, right? So that's why you have to understand what's black and you have to understand what's white. So we want to not do black and we want to do white. If it doesn't fall in any of those and falls in the gray, it always goes back to what's right. What's morally right and what's best for the client or whatever side we're dealing with, whatever our counterpart is, okay? There you go. Then that needs to be your text.
When you text them, just kind of indicate, or just kind of act like you don't know that they're not on the visit.
Just don't mention it.
That's what you mean. And if they respond, don't contact me or I'm on, it's so much easier. Just go, I am so sorry. I will update my records. So I think it's
Do
just
you
like,
want to give them the option to opt out in your first message or not?
No.
Okay.
and we are going to go through, I know I said it a couple times with a few of you, we're literally gonna go through some texting and phone call hacks to get a better pickup rate or response rate.
I have a black white question here. So do you know what Twilio is? Okay, so recently I've been doing a lot of Twilio and getting a lot of stops. These people are in my database. And I do identify my number on the bottom of most of my, almost all. Twilio messages, this is where it's pending, right? I'm like, well, they really didn't say for me to stop. They told me Twilio, that number, that's not my number. I mean, that's a problem. It's a big problem because if there's 500, I send out 500 texts in my 587 database and 250 will come back, stop. I'm like,
If it's not coming from your number and they're your SOI, then I would find another way to do it where it's coming from you.
That's how Twilio works.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. So, I mean, if they're telling you to stop, I mean, is the message wrong? I mean, I would love to see what that looks like what your recording or your bounce backs or however Twilio tracks. Like Follow Up Boss, I'm just gonna use that as an example. It is my favorite CRM, and I am absolutely biased. Just because you can have teams in there and in multiple departments. It's super customizable.
Follow Up Boss.
Follow Up Boss. And it has direct integrations instead of third-party bots, because those suck. Follow Up Boss. But with, so we're talking about, so when we text through there, right, like we can go back into the reporting and say, what's my delivery rate? Is it excellent for this? Is it getting filtered and pushed into spam, so on and so forth, right? So those are things that you're gonna wanna look at, because then you're looking at, is it how my message is being portrayed? You know, is it what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Is it the platform or something like that? Like Follow Up Boss, you have to register your phone number with your carrier and stuff like that, so that it's a legitimate phone number. Twilio is not like that. There is another testing platform called Bash Leads, really good. But I will actually teach you some of their tricks that you can do manually as well. Okay?
Real quick, and I try to move on.
No, you're
There's a difference between clients that like, you don't call me, and then someone on the do not call list, like the registry. People are waiting for you to call them so they can sue you. So right now, my home group, the designated broker, like they're in court right now, and they're trying to get like thousands of dollars because they're just waiting for an agent to call them and they take their information.
Because it's like a $10,000 fine, isn't it?
And they're going for
call.
more than that because they're having a brokerage, so.
So that again, that's why we go back to, if you can scrub it and you know it's a do not call,
Yes.
do not call. I believe there's also a like 18-month grace period because of the updating of information and sites and stuff like that. So I will, and I can have, when we do that, I will have all of that stuff printed out for y'all so that you kind of have it. But yeah, I agree. That's why I like don't intentionally call them. If they say, well, I'm registered, apologize, take them off the list and have a solution. You
Yeah,
know?
I told everybody before, like, I didn't care, I would call them, same thing, like, oh, I'm sorry, but after hearing that, I was definitely a lot more.
And again, yeah, don't intentionally do it. You can't do it if you don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
So if they come back and they go, where's that list? And you go, hey, it says nowhere. You know what I mean? You have to be able to back your stuff up. So just don't do anything you can't back up. Okay. Any other questions? I like that. I love it. Free. Oh man, it's like I keep going back to the title list or something. So again, they're pulling from Land Voice the majority of the time, so they can pull FSBOs for you. Unlike cancels and expireds, that can sit and they can just be stubborn and they're totally okay with being off the market. And you want to hit them fast because it can go that way real quick. FSBOs can sit for a hot minute depending on the market. Okay, so some of it is a nurture game. Okay, actually a lot of it's a nurture game. I'm of a firm component that they are screaming, they do not want to list, that we need to be helping them every other way to build a relationship than trying to list. Nothing will piss a FSBO off faster than you try and come into their house and do a listing presentation that we just told you.
We just talk about it, like, you know.
So again, we'll talk about some of that. How do we go in and offer value to be the, by do we drop off a FSBO packet? We used to do that, drop off a FSBO packet, two words are not my friend. FSBO packet that shared some of the tips and tricks that we use to keep eyes on their listing. It didn't tell them how. It gave them resources too, but it didn't show them exactly, you know, step by step how much, when, you know, and durations and stuff like that. So are you providing value to be able to build that? Not every brokerage does it. And I understand the liability. I have also seen some brokerages that have like one-page waiver, but, and if your brokerage supports that only, why not do an open house for your, for FSBO? Okay.
So I do open, I'll find a listing that we have in that area that open house is, I'll go to them and ask them, can I show your house today for you?
So you
And that
brought up
works.
a really good point that we're gonna actually talk about, and so I'm just gonna expand on it if you don't mind. He took a listing, okay, I picked it and drink it, and I'm not drinking.
Well, it wasn't my list, it was listing in our office. I went and sat next to the FISBO and I was able to show the FISBO because I sat this listing over here.
Exactly, it's your listing.
Yeah.
Your office.
Well, the office listing, of course, yeah.
That's
of
what I mean,
course.
so like you can take that, right?
Yeah.
Like we get to build off of our market center and the reach that it has that way. So he went and had a listing and offered to do an open house for a FISBO because of that, okay? If you take a listing or do that, pull listings from your office, or you take a buyer or something, mostly listing. What would stop you from door knocking all the FISBOs and the expireds and go, hey, I've got this crazy marketing plan, I'm already taking the listing. I know that you're really frustrated, you know, it sounds like, it looks like, you know, never say but, you know, we could do this, this, and this, like, come join in and, you know, piggyback off all the marketing and all the work we're gonna do for this, right? That's a great pop-by opportunity. So we will talk about that because again, what are those, you know, little niches within the areas that we're going that have some immediate needs that we're missing the opportunity to multiply from. So I love that. It's in the right space, I like it.
Way to get in the door, you know, really. All they ever say is bring me a buyer. Well, I got buyers coming to this house over here. Can I bring them to show yours? Sure. You'll pay me 3%? Sure. You're gonna represent yourself? Okay, go ahead. Good luck.
You represent the buyer.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
know
you're
what to
still
do,
gonna
alright.
look out for their best interest if you're a good agent, but yeah, absolutely. Again, you're turning the script
Mhm.
on them. You know what I mean? In some capacity. Spiro,
You mentioned Follow Boss. And for teams, I've even heard. yeah, command
For
design-
teams.
for- Okay, so
yeah,
as it relates. to
command's
solo-
great for
solo-
individuals, but
okay, right, so for solo agents, do you think there's any advantage for Follow Boss over commanders solo agents?
I think it's a very user-friendly, customizable thing, so you can do anything from it. It depends on your needs. But I would encourage you to go back in your current CRM and see what it's not doing. You know what I mean? First, before
But
you
in
do that.
most cases, I mean, for anybody, would command be sufficient for most solo agents?
Yeah, 100%.
Not all.
And again, it's just use it, it doesn't matter what, every CRM is so different, right? It's really about understanding what your CRM can do and the automations that it's set in place so that you can make those work for you. Okay, which is why knowing your database is super important. Okay, Command's great because it's got like the neighborhood search pieces in there. You know, you do have that smart plan dripping, you know, Command's Facebook ads are far superior to anything else. We all know that. You know, and it's our compliance system and our referral, you know, system and stuff. So a huge component of Command. It's just when you talk about needing beyond that, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it depends on what those needs are. I'm pushing for Command to be able to allow rainmakers to see their agents, right? Because that oversight's big. So if you're running a team, sometimes that's not sufficient because you have to be able to have oversight for accountability and all the things. So sometimes it's easier to jump into something else. Yeah. So CRM, I feel like it's its own thing, like its own like world, if that makes sense. Did it kind of answer your question?
Yeah, I just want to make sure people follow us. I think what I've heard is that command is, you know, incredible for teams, not so much. And is it as incredible for solo as Follow Boss? Is it that much superior for solo agents or not? Or is it?
And again, like we go back to like, what's the needs, right? Like what's the needs of the individual agent and what are they trying to leverage from? You know, does the CRM support that? If not, then, you know, that's important to their business and they need to, you know, that's something to explore. So I think it's really an individual basis. If you only have your SOI, Command is great for that, right? If you're lead sourcing out of a bulk thing, maybe not, right? Maybe it's easier to have that in a different platform. We could go off on a million different tangents, but yeah, just depends on the need, is what I'm gonna go back
You
to.
use a command?
I've been with kids over 10 years. I have all of my leads are in Command. I'm not actually actively doing much. I have some people set up on the automated valuation
Yeah,
thing.
the
Everybody's on there. Believe it or not, I buy a notebook January 1st of every year. That when my phone rings, I grab my notebook and That's my database. It's really.
Oh, he's all old school, man.
I have-
You know, for Christmas, I'm just gonna get you one of those, like,
Rolodex.
the Rolodex, right?
If you can find one. Again, like just doing what I
Oh,
have 20,
there's
30
that.
clients a year, like I only do about 30 transactions, so it's not a lot to manage.
No, that makes sense. But again, we go back to individual needs, right? You know, and what does the agent or team's business look like? That would determine what they're lacking and would need to figure out. Okay, so FSBOs, yes, you can search them in the MLS. It is not as many as there truly are. But there has been a couple programs where agents will list the house and not represent. But they'll list it in multiple listing service, and there's a one-time flat fee that they can do as well. So we have seen, seller,
Is there a way to search the flat fee listing, like a certain company name? So like, is there some sort of filter that we could search that?
that's a
would
good
find
question.
those?
I mean, MLS filtration is so complex.
Particular company or broker that does that? We can
There's a couple companies that, yeah, there's a couple companies slash.
find their listings.
Yeah, if you could find one, you could probably, you know, if you could find one that said, and it said, I mean, it says it, like, do not contact agent, contact owner directly, if it's, you know, so you know, when you're looking at the listing, if it was them or another agent, because obviously we'll get agent information on them. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so there are some, but again, the reason, it's not at all of them, because recently over the last, like, I don't know, COVID, it got pretty big because the market was so great. They started to realize that, well, it's syndicated from this, and this is where a lot of home buyers and agents are pulling from, so I might as well list it here. And they're not assuming, you know, they're not getting representation and stuff like that, so it's easy to just list and go. Okay, farming, we just kind of talked about that, okay? So what does it look to go into your farm or listing that you have, and specifically be targeting these and turn the table on them, okay? We will go into all those scripts and some follow-ups and stuff with it, but just know that that is a great way to intentionally target some of your smaller niches within your farming or circle prospecting areas. Okay, we're going to talk about our favorite adversary, Mr. Zillow. I don't care what your opinion is of them. We all have one. I hate them. They've always been, I think we felt like we've always been competing with them to some degree, okay? But the reality is they've also been a trusted source to bounce from and to play off of, okay? And I'm sorry to the iBuyers in the room, but just like iBuyers, you know what I mean? There's a way to show the value of why we're necessary over that. Zillow, this is the platform in which FSBOs are listing their properties. You know, it's also free. You just got search. But what y'all don't know, and what the consumer doesn't know, and the Zillow FSBO definitely doesn't know, is when you go onto Zillow, you search for a property, you go up to the top, right? You plug your property in, and it's your area, and it gives you like a list of things on the right-hand side if you're on your desktop. You know what I mean? You've got the map in the middle. To access the FSBO, you actually have to go in a few back-end steps to access your FSBO list. Okay, and this is through ISA that we were able to find this out, right? Because it was being used. So then we realized that the consumer can't see the listing the same way that they're seeing anything that's being directly syndicated from MLS. Okay, that's a good Virginia. I have a one pager in my listing presentation that shows them stat. You have to go here and here and here. This is why you have no eyes on your listing. Okay. So although this is their favorite platform is not making it easy for them or the consumer. Okay.
Can you expand on that?
Let's see if there we go. How about this? Tonight, I will pull my one pager out of my listing presentation and I'll send it to y'all.
Okay.
So you can see, because it's literally like, because I process it. So it's like 1, 2, 3, you know what I mean? It literally shows you where to go. So you can see just how hard it is to find those physical listings.
That's awesome.
So
Thank you.
So when someone is searching for houses, basically you're saying FISBOs are not showing up with the regular listings that are on MLS.
Oh, no, on Zillow.
Right.
Yep.
With the ones from MLS, what I'm saying.
Yes.
They're not.
Well, those will pop up because they're syndicated from MLS. I'm talking about, where did I go?
Right, they're not with the listings from MLS.
When you pull up a list, it doesn't automatically give you the FISBOs. You have to go through a back door to get to it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, on Zillow, yeah.
I'm trying to clarify for everybody
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. When a consumer goes to Zillow, they can see all the listings that are directly syndicated from the MLS.
But not the FISBOs.
But not the
Unless you do
FISBOs
the
who-
special way.
Yeah, are only listing here, not on MLS. That you have to go into a back end way to find them. Okay, now, once you figure it out, okay, they've got their phone number up there, they want to be contacted, the response rate is usually pretty good when it comes to pickup rates.
Yeah, if they don't answer the phone, they can't sell their home.
Yeah,
100%.
even the cheeky ones will say 2%.
Yeah, we'll see a lot of Google, numbers with FISBOs too, where you have to like put and verify the, if you patch through, because we got a little smarter, but
So I just pulled up Zillow, I put in the zip code, it's got some boxes for sale price, bed baths, home type more, you hit more, and then it's listing type by agent or by owner and others.
do you see where I'm going? You have to
So
go
just
click,
get a
click, click,
couple
click.
steps. They're not, they're not.
They're not
combined.
combined.
But hey, it creates a great target list for us.
It does.
It's just identify.
Not only does it do that, but again, that value to going, this is why having an agent is, and this is where I can help you,
Yeah.
because, you know. you're-
Not everybody knows
Yeah.
that to go to that extra step.
Correct.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
filter, yeah.
Exactly.
So they're buried.
Mhm. Mhm. So, and you know, we talked about, you know, whatever, 70% of litigation being around FISBOs and stuff because they're unrepresented and stuff. So, I mean, I feel like we dropped probably 5 big things with FISBOs specifically that is in their benefit and a great turn the tables on them. Okay, and we need to do that respectfully, right? But, okay, any other questions about that? All right, paid farming, mailers. Good title company or a full concierge title company. They'll print your mailings out co-branded. You pay for your postage, okay? Typically, a neighborhood subdivision will have 600 to 1,200-ish, seems to be the average range. That will run you about this for Every Door Direct. You do have to start an Every Door Direct account with the post office. Once you got it, it's pretty easy to order. Not so easy to send your first off because it's a little, they definitely complicated the system, but it's doable once you get it, you get it down. So you will pay for that. You could get the mailers covered, and that's great. This is something that, again, remember we talked about the consistency in farming is how you're going to reap the benefits. So typically we'll see mailers done once a month with maybe what we would call a mom, a message at the moment. And then if you've got a listing or buy or something in there too, just listed, just sold, something like that about it. Okay. Any questions about mailers? Every Door Direct? Okay. Paid ads, same thing. The cool thing is we're going to talk about the geo targeting and we're not jumping into that. But Facebook does have another, and again, you have to, social is, it's very complex. And there's, between Facebook and Instagram, we have this back end called the Meta. Sounds like this weird thing, it kind of is. But anyways, in there, you can create an audience and upload an email list. And then run an ad that's specifically targeted in hitting those people, as long as their email list is attached to their social media. Okay, so this is a good way to intentionally make your ads work for you when you're working in your farming or sending out your message of the moment or whatever. Events. Okay, we have, oh, did Sherry leave? Okay, so you got Spiro in here. I'm a big eventer. Who else does events? Well, I have Shannon. Yeah, so yeah, you do events. Who else? Sabrina, you do neighborhood block parties. Okay. So when Spiro was talking about, and I said we would touch back on this, okay? Farming is intimate because it is about connecting with your community. okay? Being relevant, providing value, and being a source, okay? And we all love a face-to-face. We just got done talking about that. So, farming community, what better way to connect with your farm than creating or being a part of a community event? You face your lead, okay? The cool thing about that too is in farming or general cold calling, lead gen or anything like that, they don't necessarily want to hear from you, okay? But when you do an event, you're part of the Easter egg hunt. You do a little block party, you know, or like a, you know, is that what it is? Is it a block party? Okay. Or you do something like that. You create one or you're part of something. You have this influx of people that want to be there. They want to be there. They're okay talking to you and having the conversation, okay? We have a natural herd mentality, okay? Now, there's a short amount of us that can't do people, okay? We all know a couple of them, I'm sure, but in general, we crave being around people, okay? COVID. Apart from the masks, depending on the state you were living in. What was the thing that everybody was missing so much? Interaction. And I almost feel like we haven't gotten out of that. I feel like we're still craving being around people because we felt what it felt like to not have people, okay? So take advantage of that. You know, if the community is doing a garage sale, participate. That's free. Sell some things, pass out your cards. Remember game of chance we can't do. But lenders can, title can, okay? They assume that, you know, they can, they don't follow that rule, okay? They can collect leads that you can give back, okay? So, yeah, we're gonna talk a lot about how we need to support our vendors and our vendors can support us better. I think that's class 3. We're gonna really dive into what your market center should be doing for you, and then your vendors and timelines and stuff. So, so that's probably free. If they do an Easter egg hunt, right? See what it would mean to have the table up. You know,
Buy the eggs.
Huh?
Buy all the eggs.
Buy the eggs.
Right up
True.
first.
Don't you do that? You usually participate in one of the big things for the event.
My main contribution when I'm doing stuff, it's all HOA sponsored, I'm giving a financial contribution. The big benefit of doing that at really any price point is they include me on the flyer that they mail out to every home. So not only am I getting, they're getting my stuff in the mail, now they're getting the stuff directly from the HOA. It's in the corner, they get our sponsors.
Yep.
And, you know, so I'm, you know, I'm 2/3.
Are you on the board though?
I'm not on the board.
No.
I would never be on the board.
I do actually know a lot of people
People
that are.
HOA, it's like being in the firing squad.
I did HOA property management. It was like the best time of my life because it's so black and white, but yes, you're right.
But what I do before they try to chop me, before an agent whose husband is also, before somebody's on activities committee whose husband is also a realtor, and they try to chop me off at the knees and, you know, squash my ability to be integrated. At the last minute, I'd be like, oh, they're doing an event and it's on the grass, it's our snow event, and the hot chocolate is gonna be up in the building. Like, I'm like, why? She's like, well, we don't have the budget for it. I'm like, how much is like $300? I'm like, that doesn't do it. Like, I'll like whatever. The last minute, I'm like, what's missing? What would make this better? Either elevate the fun factor or just improve it. And I'll step up even for a few $100s more, or do something myself that will take it to another.
How many leads did you take from that one specifically?
It's so hard to quantify. I do, like, again, what's the rules on games of chance or giveaways, right? Wine giveaways, gift card giveaways. I've gotten people to sign up for giveaway bicycles for kids. Nobody at that event had said, I want you to sell my house at the event, right? We don't really talk, I mean, sometimes talk about it, people come up to me and I have to help them.
There's randoms, yeah, but I don't.
But
think-
it's more about, there's just a consistency of I'm at every single primary event, most of the secondary events. They're seeing it. It's part of the bigger package of being visible everywhere. I was on the shopping carts at the closest Fry's. I adopted the busiest.
Yeah, by
street.
the way, he did give up his original Fry's shopping center thing, and those carts and things are available if anybody wants that one.
And I do, like, I forgot to adopt a street. So the street that's busiest is North Foothill, on
Yeah.
Hill Valley Road.
Yeah.
For 7 years, I had to adopt a street.
Mhm.
I just had to clean it 2 or 3 times here, but that gave me a chance to get some neighborhood kids together, throw a pizza party for them, or do something. And all the parents were talking about how cool, that
See,
was.
again,
A
yeah.
lot of layers of community involvement.
Yeah. So super important. Doesn't have to cost you a ton, could cost you something, but is more valuable than anything else. Like in it. So questions about paid farming? Okay. Free farming. Again, with the title list, man, it's like this reoccurring theme over here. So again, perfect, because they can give you a full list. They can also give you absentee owners, just those council expireds in there. Or anyone that has over 2 years, with equity and things like that, right? So that, from this, you can do everything. Email, mailers, door knocking, calling, social, there's nothing you can't do with that list, okay? It allows you to do, touch every facet of lead gen with one list. Canvassing, again, going back to being relevant, Popeyes, we were just talking about some Popeyes and stuff like that. So those are great, or we're going into a farm and specifically targeting, Kansas expireds and FSBOs and pre foreclosures or anything like that with something that's relevant to where they're currently sitting, okay? Again, if you get a concierge title service that can pay for the door, like the actual print, it's sweat equity, people. Again, don't do it during summertime. I don't need to get a call that someone killed over, but it doesn't, it's just time. Time is your payment, okay? And events, and this one says events and it says free. That's because we don't talk about bringing our sponsors in. So I said earlier in the class that they're hurting too. But there's a lot of our vendors out there, from title to lenders to inspectors and home warranty and stuff like that, who are willing to sponsor an event. Okay, so if you can provide value and say, hey, I'm putting in front of all these people, my leads go to, my leads, I'll use you as a home inspector, or I'm gonna, whatever. If they paid for that and they got to put a seat, and we know that community already loves the herding, we just showed up with a team to handle all their things. And we paid next to nothing for doing it.
I did, trunk or treat in Whitman. It cost me $70. I contacted my title company and my lender, and this guy sponsored the toilets, this guy sponsored the bouncy house, and and
Yeah.
I bought 3 bags of candy, a few bags of candy. It's all I really had to pay for. And I met 780 people. So you can do it reasonably. It's just leverage your
Yeah.
team.
100%, right? So have a buyer. What's our buyer's issue right now? I mean, some of them are coming and starting to play ball, but the other ones are afraid to get on the field. Okay? Our job is to be the source of the source of the source, correct?
Right.
We're to have 3 of everything, so that we're never the direct source. So we're just gonna bring the horse's mouth to them. Let them have the buyer conversation, the interest rate conversation and things like that. Okay, or whoever you decide to bring, okay? Huh?
Don't forget your lender.
Oh, lender, yeah, obviously. Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, put it on them, you know what I mean? And you guys share the lead flow. If something gets, handled and you need that, it goes to them, okay? There's a way for them to benefit and for us to benefit. We need some monetary support, they need leads. Pretty good exchange. We just happen to be the medium and the facilitator in this, okay? Questions? Thoughts? Who wants to do farming now? It actually can be pretty fun. Okay. What do I have next? Okay, I didn't even do a slide because I'm just gonna say, and I'm gonna ask you to do this because class, I'm making my still in this up. Which one is that? I think it's 4 or 5. We're gonna go through CRM. We will talk a lot about commands. So if you're not a KW agent, we will talk about that, but we will also talk about that in reference to a general thing so that you can apply it in whatever CRM you're in. So I'm gonna ask you, you guys can all take a picture. I did not print this out. I probably should have. Every agent has a CRM. At the very least, your broker offers one. So there should be no reason why you're paying for one if you don't need to or don't want to. Okay. And most have options to launch a campaign and stuff like that. So I'm going to ask you this week before Wednesday, well, over the next couple weeks, because depending on the size of your database, do you know how to use your CRM? Yeah, I'm getting some looks. Okay. We're going to GPS in 4 and 1 after we take a break. We might take a 15-minute break so we can really stretch because I'm going to dump on you. And this is my favorite subject we're going to talk about last. That means that can be a goal. I'm going to watch X amount of videos and know how to do this, this, and this. A video a week. I don't think any CRM has more than like 20, 25 videos. You know what I mean? And they're not usually long. I think an hour at the most I've seen, and I've been in a lot of CRMs. Okay. So I challenge you to understand what your CRM can do so that we're working smarter, not harder. Okay. Number 2, does your assets have an appropriate campaign on them? Are you touching them the way that you need to? Okay, that came off bad, but you know what I mean? Do we have, I actually wrote that so many times in my notes. I'm like, man, I hope they don't think I own real estate in the gutter, but so does your assets have an appropriate campaign? Are we dripping or communicating or task oriented so we know we need to jump back into them? Okay. Or are they just sitting there doing nothing? Because you're just wasting money at this point. And are your leads organized and tagged? Okay, CRM's different. If we can stage them or opportunity them in a specific way, okay, and are they tagged? You know what I mean? Do we want to look at if they're buyer or seller? Do we want to look at the city because we're city specific? You know what I mean? Is it an expired versus an SOI lead? You know what I mean? These are the things because whatever action plan, campaign, smart plan, whatever your CRM calls a drip, it needs to be specific to where your lead's intention is. Am I meant to sit here and be dripped 4 times a month or a year? Am I a hot lead that needs to have regular weekly communication? Am I a warm that I need to touch every couple weeks, maybe a month? You know what I mean? We need to start thinking about those pieces because the message we send to them should be relevant to the type of lead and where their intention is. Okay? Questions?
As far as command's concerned, every day they have something. There's a link you can put every single.
I know, command's great. There's tons of training.
Yeah.
They just relaunched a few different pieces from the campaigns and stuff on. So if you guys haven't, we will be having some breakout sessions between Northeast and Glendale. So be prepared. We just have database ones tomorrow, right? Yeah. And I'm trying to get, I think I actually might get Matt Meyer to come in for our CRM piece of it, who's also doing the database one tomorrow. Okay. So worth it. All right. This was supposed to be our break for lunch, but let's take 15. Just seriously get some water. Let's empty our bladders. I'm not going to keep you hostage. I'm not a heathen. Stretch our legs, get the blood moving because I am going to dump on you. They stopped carrying my gifts. Which used to be like the caprese one. The caprese one with all the mozzarella and stuff like
I
that.
have this of yours.
I don't have mine.
Because you weren't here during the meeting after.
Oh, that's funny.
And I have like 3 or 4. I can let you give you everyone and bring them back to the office. I have a bunch of others.
Okay, yeah.
A bunch of people weren't here and I was like.
Make sure.
It's been recorded, so I'll just send you the thing on the thing, but I want to see it in some. So.
All there.
Yeah,
Yeah, these were everybody that I'm waiting for here. This is.
It's, we actually have. So the first one is.
Well, it's her phone calling. I don't give her the phone tomorrow. That's today. I did this call.
Hey, this is great. I have to read though, so I'm gonna, this is. part of
It's
it,
recorded.
It's all recorded.
Yep,
Okay.
and then we're already set down. So remember, we're gonna already make a plan.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm gonna go is what I would have already trained you.
Okay, great.
Okay?
Okay, Jane.
I'd like to call one to make sure that I be there, and then the second one to write down.
Oh, you are so funny. I'm not part of the Free Club Kids Club.
Yeah.
I've always been a PC,
Say.
Android user. Okay, so
They bring bosses for you. I always have to-
we have. Oh, you got that one? I did it.
So,
No.
It's the other bottle, that's what we're talking about, like.
Oh, that sucks. Okay, so week 6 is not missing a marketing beat, so we're really gonna tap into social media and creating what that schedule should look like with Wednesday. And then down on here,
So
week
I
9, we're keeping eyes on our listings. So during the open houses and other places, we're gonna be pulling content we're not using right then. Hi. So we're going to regurgitate some we'll keep like stagnant pictures and we're just gonna take the content we have. Okay. Oh, I know. I didn't know you guys on board.
there you go.
I'm still on my agent, so it's like. I'm still
All
doing
good.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going, yeah, just let me know. You've got my cell phone number, so if you need anything. I know, and I was like, oh, I gotta answer my phone, but I was literally like in the middle of it.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah, all right.
I love you. No, it's like a really nice, and I was like. But no, the Amazon. I know. No help. I don't like you. So. Yes, it's just fun. The brand is sponsored. The food, but I've seen most people do. You know, finance. Because, oh, I just say. I told her yesterday, I said, oh, this is a huge challenge if they do that all the time, like that. Oh, yeah. Okay, so, Sherry's got, so we can hold it still. Yes, and then we need to get, if I remember right, we gotta get the tacos and the margaritas.
Yes.
Whatever. Oh, and then Sherry said she didn't bring the lunch. So it's supposed to be the class, the tacos, and happy. Okay, do you have any? Yeah, because I need somebody to pick up food, which like, or they'll be like, hey, so can I go get? Or they'll get us to be dropped off. Oh, yeah, that's good. So she was making the flyers. That's what she's supposed to. Oh, is that what she's supposed to? Yeah, that's what I got to Courtney. Courtney's gonna blast it. I'll do it. Was the one that I sent flyer or didn't? Okay, I didn't hear about it. It's like a list and a start, and I'm like, okay, I need to look because I have to do 3 more. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Like being a consultant. And then one. Oh, that's fine. It might need to change. Okay. Yeah, no, and so then we'll do what we have to do in this first. Okay, and then if we need to go through the before, let us know. Probably easiest to do is how many people have. Okay. Okay. Alex is not legal with us Monday and Friday, and then have them. Okay. If people was not out of it, Kyle wanted to shorten the meetings. So that's gonna go. Okay. Okay. Okay, and then as far as where you working on that, do you need to, if you have anyone who's going to do it, you'll have some issues with sponsorship. If not, I think that's okay, I can have to. Okay, if you guys have a preferred, that'd be cool.
Oh, so they were, I had called him yesterday, he said, number one, thing I called, one I wanted to find out about this board. Yeah. You know, see his stuff.
You ever go any further?
It's right here. It's bad. I'm in there before. No, I'm not. I need to not go. I don't know about her house. I know.
She's like,
We, yeah, we just will disconnect.
Which house is it?
I'll send you. And she was fine.
Because we have.
No,
Don't have.
you never did it. No.
Gotta get-
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's good.
I don't know. Well, it's just- yeah, we initially found out when-
Well, but it's our fault, you know.
I know, I
So
did.
I gotta wait.
Okay, I was just, it was on our space. So, yeah. Okay,
Is it because the owners?
okay, yeah, because I was like, man, this is great. And I was like, no, what? Yeah. Yeah, so
Okay.
I still don't.
How much did you
Say, hey, you're not, next time it's very.
And so.
People know that.
You know, where I go, you're being for the other day.
For your sake. For your sake.
Sure, we're gonna join that call. Country Club, there's a room to join that.
I don't know.
It's not, I feel no bad at all. Join up there, if you can make it. Right now, there's a long list here. Country Clubs. Yeah. Oh, that's one of this.
Would have been.
So that's this, yeah, so I treated, I was.
Sunday.
My digital version.
They're.
Well, I remember you guys with WordPress, but you guys not, I saw that. Okay.
I just looked it up.
Yeah.
I can give some people like me, I'll write my stuff each week. No, I date with my whole on Sunday, I so it was kind of so I think.
Yeah.
Ugly, so then I read the show. Which they have, some people are. Some people are. I actually. Yeah, things to ask.
How much?
She's already done. Flyers. Halloween and I did, we're not with those. This, whatever, like, oh, they looked at me, like, yes, so, we're, this coming Wednesday, like, for, like, that, yeah, also that it's all, concepts.
Once the photo down there.
And so.
I love that.
Okay, I struggle.
So that's how I.
Well, I know that.
I just-
I've been before. I had Bob Watcher. You remember my son goes over there.
Oh, okay.
Thank word. Yeah.
So
it is.
we're gonna talk about that. So
You know, fruit fair.
He was laid out backwards.
So we will have.
They just walked, they just looked that backwards there. What did he want to do?
So we'll jump in.
It was great. Yeah, so take some good notes or, you know, I have you, share them with everyone else. Yeah.
She says that. If you just say that word, she'll know.
I haven't heard from you in a while.
Yes.
Yeah, she says. I get it.
He's all,
Would you have a friend?
Are you out of town? I know some team was there last week. They deal with them.
I guess I'll just.
What is your?
I just started there. There's more of them.
Oh, no, I took a
She'll
last.
guide you.
Really?
Should you do that? I used to have to be farming and stuff.
Yeah.
It works out. Really well. He has his classes.
Well,
See you later.
I,
You want to go ahead and do it over the house too? The team is talking about it.
okay, I can go use a little roller and stuff, so can you guys give me that? Really? With all your stuff, all our having conversations, are you kidding me?
No.
You won't be happy. Okay.
I'll read about it for.
Well, you guys need to go. I have water coming. It's not important, but then you can always get over what we're gonna go at least today. So, yeah. Yeah.
I was just telling you, what you're saying about taking families and people that we can- Very good. I'm the one.
Yeah.
You. I don't know how to do it. You might have been, thinking of my kids or what? Oh my God.
I'm not ready for now.
Yeah, he's broke.
I will eat. I like prospect. I don't like prospect interaction.
Oh, we to go on, oh, but they might, I'm. But still, I'm trying to figure out, on my, I had a CRM, I shouldn't have. You know, why people have my stuff. You know, training knowledge right now, I mean, I'm getting that. Yeah, so, that is just something. And, saying to go through, so that all this over. That's pretty good little things. That's. I go to. Oh, you know they. You know what's going on. That's what I did. I was off training. I got my 7 words out. So I just, I did go. I think that's all. Okay, but one of the next questions, yeah, what is that recommend? Like, and they go, you know what? So do you know? So, you know, if you know, I was trying to like, but I was. Because, I see what you're. Figure it out with me. Because they choose the end of one of three presentations together. Okay. He lets you do everything or he chime in? Well, we both did. I started it, you know, we both went there, right? Yeah. We started. So, you know, we see what they're thinking, you're bringing on offer. So, you know, we like, because the city itself is on the train. Yeah, yeah. So you show us those. What do you guys think? Yeah, right about here, show them some of the numbers and those. And then it's just a discussion. So really, can I take a minute to show you how? Sell a lot of things. Yeah. Sure.
How do you get back on the board?
And, you know, my reason.
And when you. And then we got stuff that's surgery. She had her. Wasn't people who did. She had her foot surgery on the 1500 herself.
I did that, see what?
Mom.
And then you just start flipping through.
Mom.